Welcome to the Wandering Mind, where we focus on calm learning for curious minds at rest. Before we begin, what time is it where you are, and which part of the world are you listening from? Thanks for joining me today. Now, allow your thoughts to drift and let the world fall away. In the stillness of the ancient world, beneath the warm embrace of the Mediterranean sun, nestled the city-state of Sparta. It was a place where the rhythms of life were dictated by the pursuit of an ideal of strength, discipline, and simplicity. Today, we embark on a journey to uncover the essence of this Spartan ideal, to understand the silent dedication that sculpted one of history's most formidable warrior societies. The Spartan way of life was not merely a collection of customs or traditions, it was a philosophy embodied in every aspect of existence. From the moment a Spartan child drew their first breath, they were enveloped in a culture that valued resilience above all else. This was a world where the physical and the mental were inseparable, where the pursuit of excellence was not a solitary endeavor, but a communal commitment. Sparta, unlike other Greek city-states such as Athens, was not known for its grand architecture or philosophical discourse. Instead, its renown lay in the formidable reputation of its warriors, men who were as much products of their environment as they were of their rigorous training. This society revolved around the Agoge, a state-sponsored education and training regimen that began in early childhood and continued into adulthood, shaping not just soldiers, but citizens who embodied Spartan virtues. In the heart of this austere landscape, the Spartan ideal was reflected in the very fabric of daily life. Simplicity was not seen as a lack of sophistication, but rather as a clarity of purpose. Every element of Spartan society was designed to foster strength and endurance. From the sparse meals consumed in the communal dining halls to the plain clothing worn by all, luxury was eschewed in favor of utility. It was believed that by eliminating excess, one could focus more intently on what truly mattered. This focus on simplicity extended to the education of Spartan youth. Unlike their Athenian counterparts who were schooled in philosophy and the arts, Spartan children were taught the art of war and the virtues of silence and obedience. Reading and writing were not ignored, but they were secondary to physical prowess and the ability to endure hardship. A Spartan child learned to value silence, not as a void, but as a space for contemplation and strength. Through silence, they learned to listen, to observe, and to act with precision. In this silent strength lay the heart of the Spartan ideal, a disciplined mind in a disciplined body. It was a philosophy that saw beauty in restraint and power in the controlled application of force. The Spartans were masters of the art of self-control, a trait that was cultivated from a young age and perfected over a lifetime. This was not merely a skill for the battlefield, but a way of life, one that demanded constant vigilance and unwavering commitment. As the sun set over the rugged mountains of Laconia, the Spartan landscape seemed to echo the values of its people. The land was both harsh and beautiful, a testament to the resilience that defined the Spartan character. It was a place where every challenge was met with calm determination, where every obstacle was an opportunity for growth. In this way, the Spartan ideal was not just about warfare, it was about living a life of purpose and integrity. In Sparta, the pursuit of excellence was not a solitary path, but a shared endeavor. Each individual was part of a greater whole, working together to achieve common goals. This sense of unity was reflected in the Phalanx, the tightly knit formation that made the Spartan army legendary. Just as each soldier relied on his neighbor for protection, so too did the Spartans rely on each other to uphold the values that defined their society. The Spartan ideal was more than a historical curiosity. It was a testament to the power of discipline and simplicity. It reminds us that strength is not only found in physical prowess, but in the ability to live a life guided by principles. As we journey through the intricacies of Spartan training and discipline, we are invited to reflect on the ways in which these ancient ideals continue to resonate with us today. In the quiet moments of reflection, we find a connection to the past, a reminder that amidst the complexities of modern life, there is value in revisiting the simplicity and focus that characterized the Spartan way. As we delve deeper into this journey, let us carry with us the lessons of restraint and the silent strength that defined a civilization. It is a quiet introduction, but one that sets the stage for a deeper exploration of the Spartan world, where every detail, every ritual, and every discipline was a thread in the rich tapestry of their existence. In the early light of a Spartan morning, when the sun gently crests the rugged hills of Laconia, a quiet transformation begins. It is here, among the olive groves and whispering winds, that the first seeds of discipline are sown in the hearts of young Spartan children. These formative years, though tender in other cultures, are marked by an intentional shaping of character in a society that venerates strength, resilience, and communal spirit above all else. Imagine a young Spartan child, perhaps named Lycurgus after the legendary lawgiver, awakening to the soft, rhythmic sound of the breeze that seems to speak of ancient traditions. From the very beginning, these children are enveloped in an atmosphere where discipline is not merely a set of rules, but a way of life. It is an all-encompassing ethos, subtly woven into the fabric of every interaction and every moment of play. The lessons in discipline begin long before the conscious mind can fully grasp their significance. They are not harsh edicts imposed by stern figures, but gentle nudges from a society that understands the importance of shaping its citizens from the earliest possible age. These lessons are imparted through observation, imitation, and the natural rhythm of daily life. There is a beauty in this quiet, almost invisible schooling. Consider the loving but firm guidance of a Spartan mother, perhaps a figure much like Agōgē, the wife of King Leonidas, known for her wisdom and strength. She imparts discipline not through stern commands, but through the calm consistency of her actions. The child learns to understand that self-control begins with the little things, the way one carries oneself, the respect shown in gestures, and the silent acknowledgement of the greater good over personal desires. In the Spartan home, the child learns the value of moderation. Excess is eschewed in favor of simplicity. The sparse decor of their homes reflects a mindset that treasures the essentials and discards the superfluous. Through this, children begin to understand that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the strength of character and the bonds of community. They are taught to appreciate the satisfaction that comes from hard work and the inner peace that arises from living in harmony with their surroundings. The early lessons in discipline also extend to the community, where children observe the interactions of adults who model restraint and self-discipline. The Spartan elders, revered for their wisdom, offer guidance not through loud proclamations, but through their composed demeanor. Their presence is a constant reminder of the virtues of patience, humility, and service to the community. Play, a universal language of childhood, is not devoid of these lessons. Spartan children engage in games that, unbeknownst to them, hone their physical abilities and instill a sense of fair play and teamwork. These activities, while joyful, are also subtly instructive, teaching the importance of cooperation and the art of balancing individual effort with collective success. Through play, they learn to respect their peers and to find joy in shared achievements. Storytelling, too, plays an essential role in this early education. The tales of heroes and gods, recounted by the flickering light of the hearth, carry messages of courage, honor, and sacrifice. These stories, rich with metaphor and meaning, captivate young minds, drawing them into a world where virtues are celebrated and vices are eschewed. Through these narratives, children begin to internalize the values that will guide them throughout their lives. As the sun sets and the day draws to a close, the lessons in discipline continue in the quiet moments of reflection. In the gentle dusk, when shadows lengthen and the world seems to hold its breath, children are encouraged to contemplate their actions and the day that has passed. This practice, though simple, encourages a habit of introspection that becomes a cornerstone of their character as they grow. Through these early lessons, Spartan children develop a deep-seated understanding of discipline that transcends mere obedience. It is a discipline of the heart and mind, a steadfast commitment to living in accordance with the values that define their society. These lessons, though imparted in childhood, lay the foundation for a life of purpose and resilience. In this way, the child grows, nurtured by a community that understands the profound impact of early education. They are gently guided towards a future where they will embody the ideals of a Spartan warrior, not through force or coercion, but through a genuine appreciation of the principles instilled in them from the very beginning. And so, in the quietude of a Spartan dawn, a child takes their first steps on a path of discipline, a journey that will shape their destiny and, in turn, the destiny of their people. Through this gentle, deliberate molding, the spirit of Sparta endures, as timeless as the hills that cradle their homeland. In the serene and disciplined world of ancient Sparta, the decision for a young boy to join the Agoge was not so much a choice as it was a rite of passage, a step into a life woven tightly with the threads of duty, honor, and resilience. The Agoge, an institution both formidable and revered, was the very heart of Spartan society's aspiration to craft warriors par excellence. Yet it was also a crucible for instilling the values that defined a Spartan citizen: unwavering loyalty, formidable strength, and an unyielding spirit. As the gentle whispers of dawn crept across the Spartan landscape, a young boy stood on the cusp of this transformation. At the tender age of 7, the decision to join the Agoge was less a matter of personal deliberation and more a societal expectation. It was a passage anticipated from birth, yet it beckoned with the weight of an unknown journey. For the boy, and indeed his family, the moment marked a profound shift from the comforting embrace of home to the shared life of communal training. In essence, the Agoge was an educational system unlike any other. It did not merely aim to educate in the traditional sense, but sought to mold every boy into a paragon of Spartan virtues. This was a journey back through the annals of time, where childhood as we know it was a fleeting phase, quickly surrendered to the demands of survival and excellence. The system was as much about the community as it was about the individual, for in Sparta, the strength of one was the strength of all. Parents, particularly mothers, played a pivotal role in this decision. Spartan women were known for their strength and fortitude, often encouraging their sons with words that resonated through history: "Come back with your shield," or "on it." Such sentiments were not born of cruelty, but of a deep-seated belief in the collective good over individual safety. For these mothers, the Agoge was not merely about sending their sons away. It was an act of entrusting them to the state, to be forged into instruments of its survival. The training was rigorous, yet it began with an understanding, an unspoken contract between the city-state and its young. The boy would learn to navigate a world defined by strict discipline and relentless physical challenges. He would soon discover that the Agoge was as much about cultivating the mind as it was about hardening the body. From the moment he entered, he would be taught to observe, to listen, and most importantly, to endure. Endurance was a theme that ran like a steady current through the experience of the Agoge. It was a quality honed through daily routines designed to test limits and fortify resolve. Yet, it was also a lesson in understanding the subtleties of life, how to find strength in silence, how to remain steadfast when others might falter. The decision to join was thus a commitment to a life of perpetual growth, where every challenge was a stepping stone to greater capability and understanding. The boys were not alone in this journey, for the Agoge fostered a deep sense of camaraderie. Bonds formed within its confines were not easily broken, as shared hardships and collective triumphs knitted the young Spartans into a brotherhood. These relationships were vital, for they taught the boys the importance of unity and cooperation, skills that would later serve them well on the battlefield. Here, in the early stages of their training, they learned that the strength of the Phalanx lay not in individual prowess, but in the seamless coordination of many. A key aspect of the Agoge was its focus on cultivating a keen intellect. Contrary to the stereotypical image of the Spartan warrior as a brute force, the Agoge placed great emphasis on developing strategic thinking and problem-solving skills. The boys were taught to question and to understand the world around them, to see beyond the immediate and envisage the larger picture. This intellectual training was subtle but profound, shaping minds that could adapt and innovate in the face of adversity. Within the Agoge, the boys also encountered mentors, older youths who had themselves walked the path and who now guided the younger generation. These mentors were crucial, for they embodied the ideals to which the younger boys aspired. Through their example, they taught lessons not only in combat, but in the art of living with honor. It was through these interactions that the boys learned the importance of respect and the value of experience. The decision to join the Agoge was a profound one, setting the course for the life of each young Spartan. It was a decision that shaped not only the individual but the very fabric of Spartan society. As we reflect on this transition, we find ourselves drawn to the quiet strength of a culture that prized resilience above all else. In the whispers of history, we hear the echoes of young voices, stepping forward with resolve into the embrace of the Agoge, their journey just beginning. In the serene stillness of early dawn, as the first gentle rays of sunlight crept over the horizon, a quiet yet momentous transition unfolded in the lives of Spartan boys. At the tender age of 7, these young lads would bid farewell to the familiar warmth of their family homes. It was a departure both solemn and transformative, marking the commencement of a new chapter steeped in tradition and rigor, an entry into the communal life that would sculpt their futures. To the casual observer, this might seem a simple act of leaving, yet for the Spartans, it was a profound rite of passage, woven deeply into the fabric of their society. For the boys, it was a moment imbued with a sense of wonder and trepidation, leaving behind the comforting embrace of their mothers and fathers to enter a world designed to build resilience and strength. In Spartan culture, the family was but the first thread in a broader tapestry. From birth, the community prepared to welcome these boys into a life of shared purpose. The family nurtured them, instilling early lessons of loyalty and duty, yet it was understood that they would soon belong to a greater collective, the Agoge, a unique educational and military training system that was the heartbeat of Sparta. As these young ones took their first tentative steps away from home, they carried with them more than just the few belongings fit for a Spartan. They bore the weight of expectations, the hopes of their kin, and the nascent spark of a warrior spirit that would be fanned into flame through years of disciplined training. The journey to their new abode was not a long one in terms of distance, but in those few steps lay a gulf of change. Accompanied by their fathers or perhaps an elder brother, the boys made their way to the Communal Barracks, their new home and school. Here they would learn to grow not as individuals, but as parts of a formidable whole, bound by the principles of unity and strength. As they crossed the threshold of the barracks, the boys entered an environment stark in its simplicity, yet rich in the promise of transformation. The communal living quarters were devoid of luxury, a reflection of the Spartan ideal that valued austerity over comfort. This new home was a place where every object, every routine, had a purpose in the grand design of crafting warriors. The barracks were alive with the quiet hum of activity, a symphony of discipline where each note was a lesson in itself. The older boys, already seasoned in the ways of the Agoge, carried out their duties with a practiced ease, serving as both mentors and role models. For the newly arrived, there was an immediate sense of belonging to something greater, a tribe of brothers forged through shared experiences. In this setting, the concept of family expanded beyond the biological ties of blood relatives. Here, the bonds of brotherhood were forged in the crucible of shared trials and triumphs. This was a world where friendship was not a matter of choice but a necessity, a vital thread in the intricate weave of Spartan society. The days began early, with the rising sun heralding a new cycle of learning and growth. The young boys quickly adapted to the rhythms of their new lives, each day a carefully orchestrated blend of physical training, education, and communal living. Under the watchful eyes of instructors, they learned to move with precision and purpose, their small bodies gradually growing stronger, more resilient. Yet this was not a place devoid of warmth or camaraderie. Within the structured confines of the Agoge, boys found moments of laughter and joy, the simple pleasures of childhood woven into the fabric of their rigorous training. Games and songs punctuated the routines, serving as reminders of their youth even as they were molded into warriors. The experience of leaving home at such a tender age, while daunting, was also liberating in its own right. It offered the boys a chance to redefine themselves, to discover their own strengths and weaknesses within the framework of a supportive community. In this space, they learned the invaluable art of self-reliance, tempered by the understanding that true strength lay not in standing alone, but in standing together. As the sun set each evening, casting long shadows over the barracks, the boys gathered to share their experiences of the day. In the quiet moments before sleep, they reflected on their journeys, each one a step closer to becoming the men their society needed them to be. Here in the stillness of night, they found comfort in the knowledge that they were part of something enduring and meaningful. Leaving home at 7 was just the beginning. It was the first step on an arduous yet rewarding path, one that would lead these young Spartans through trials and tribulations, shaping them into the guardians of their city-state. In embracing this new life, they honored the legacy of those who came before them, carrying forward the indomitable spirit of Sparta into the future. Thus, in the quiet of the barracks, under a canopy of stars, the boys of Sparta slept, their dreams interwoven with the promise of what they would one day become, a testament to the enduring power of discipline, unity, and the unwavering pursuit of excellence. Within the quiet confines of the Spartan landscape, nestled amidst the rugged terrain and beneath the watchful gaze of the Taygetos Mountains, lay the heart of Spartan youth development, the communal barracks. These were more than mere shelters. They were the crucibles where the raw ore of Spartan boys was refined into disciplined warriors. Here they learned the art of living together, a skill as essential as wielding a spear or shield. Imagine, if you will, a long, low building, its walls echoing with the murmur of youthful voices and the crackling of a modest fire. These barracks, stark and unadorned, were far from the comforts of home. Their simplicity was deliberate, a constant reminder that luxury was the enemy of the Spartan ideal. Yet within these austere walls, something profound took shape. It was here that boys, mere children at first, began their transformation into the men who would one day stand shoulder to shoulder on the battlefield. Each morning, as the first light of dawn crept over the mountains, the young Spartans would rise, shaking off the chill of the night. There was no gentle start to the day. Instead, the air was filled with the brisk energy of routine. The boys would swiftly make their beds, a simple task, yet one that instilled a sense of discipline from the very start. Every action within the barracks was part of a larger choreography, each step teaching the boys that their lives were not solely their own, but intricately linked to those around them. Breakfast was a communal affair, the boys gathering around to share their morning meal, a modest serving of porridge. This was no grand feast, but it was sufficient to fuel the morning's activities. As they ate, the boys engaged in light conversation, their voices weaving together in a tapestry of camaraderie. These moments of shared laughter and talk, though seemingly trivial, were vital. They were the threads that bound these young Spartans together, creating bonds of friendship and loyalty that would endure the tests of time and hardship. After breakfast, the day's training commenced, a rigorous schedule designed to forge physical prowess and mental resilience. The boys would engage in exercises that tested their strength and endurance, running across the rough terrain, wrestling in the dust, honing their bodies into instruments of precision and power. Yet it was not just the physical challenges that defined their day. The training was a lesson in unity, teaching the boys to move as one, to think not as individuals but as parts of a greater whole. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the barracks would become a hive of activity, each boy intent on mastering the skills that would one day serve him in the field of battle. Under the watchful eyes of their instructors, they learned the value of silence and obedience, the importance of a swift and precise response to commands. It was within these walls that the boys discovered the art of silent communication, a skill that would allow them to operate seamlessly in the chaos of warfare. Yet the life in the barracks was not solely about the rigors of physical training. There were quieter moments too, where the focus shifted from the body to the mind. The boys would gather to listen to stories of great warriors, tales of bravery and strategy that fired their imaginations and instilled a deep sense of pride in their heritage. These stories were laced with lessons in morality and honor, guiding the boys as they navigated the complexities of life in the barracks. In the evenings, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the atmosphere within the barracks shifted once more. The day's labors behind them, the boys would engage in simple games, their laughter a soothing balm against the fatigue of their bodies. These games, though seemingly light-hearted, were crafted to teach and test, nurturing quick thinking and agility. It was during these times that the bonds of friendship and brotherhood were strengthened, each boy finding his place within the intricate social web of the barracks. Life within these communal walls was a delicate balance of discipline and camaraderie, of individual effort and collective strength. The boys learned to rely on each other, to share in each other's victories and failures. This sense of mutual dependency was the bedrock of Spartan society, a foundation laid carefully through the daily rhythms of life in the barracks. Here they discovered the power of unity, the strength that comes from being part of something greater than oneself. As the night settled over Sparta, the barracks grew quiet, the boys drifting into the realm of dreams. These dreams were not of grandeur or conquest, but of simple aspirations, to serve their city with honor, to stand firm with their brothers, to embody the Spartan ideal. And so, within these humble walls, the seeds of future greatness were sown, nurtured by the steady and unyielding hand of discipline and the warm embrace of camaraderie. Here, within the communal barracks, the journey from boy to warrior quietly unfolded, a journey marked by shared experiences and the enduring spirit of brotherhood. In the quiet dawn of Spartan life, simplicity took on the role of a stern but benevolent teacher. The early training of a young Spartan, though austere, was a masterclass in the art of paring down to the essentials. It was in this environment, where luxury was stripped away like bark from a tree, that the true nature of strength was revealed, not through grand gestures, but through the quiet, persistent rhythm of daily routine. The Spartan philosophy held that the most effective path to resilience lay in simplicity. This was not a simplicity born of deprivation, but rather one of focus. From the moment a boy entered the Agoge, his days were woven with patterns of exercise that were deceptively basic in their design. Yet within these simple patterns lay the seeds of formidable strength and endurance, carefully cultivated over time. One might picture these young boys, their feet bare against the earth, as they began their day with exercises that were as old as Sparta itself. The routines were elegantly uncomplicated, running, leaping, lifting, each movement purposeful, each repetition a step towards the strength they would one day wield. Their training was not about immediate victories or displays of prowess, but about the slow, steady build of their physical and mental fortitude. In running, they found the purest expression of freedom and speed. The simple act of placing one foot in front of the other was a lesson in endurance and persistence. The uneven terrain of their homeland became their training ground, teaching them to navigate the world with agility and grace. As their feet pounded the earth, they learned to converse with their own breath, to listen to the rhythm of their bodies, and to push just beyond their previous limits. Leaping, too, was an exercise in simplicity and strength. The act of propelling oneself into the air, of defying gravity for a brief moment, was a test of power and coordination. Each leap was a small triumph over the forces that sought to keep them grounded. Through countless repetitions, the boys honed their ability to spring forth with precision and control, traits that would serve them well in the chaos of battle. Lifting was perhaps the most straightforward of their exercises, yet it was here that the boys learned the beauty of raw strength and the importance of a solid foundation. Stones, logs, and other natural weights were heaved with a deliberate cadence, each lift a testament to their growing power. The simplicity of this exercise underscored a fundamental truth. Strength did not reside in the complexity of the tool, but in the fortitude of the one who wielded it. Beyond the physical, these exercises were a meditation in mindfulness. The boys learned to be present in each moment, to focus not on the discomfort of the task, but on the progression it promised. This quiet discipline, the ability to channel their energy and attention, became a cornerstone of their training, instilling in them the mental resilience needed to face adversity with calm determination. The Spartan training regimen also embraced simplicity in its communal nature. The boys exercised together, their collective efforts binding them into a cohesive unit. They learned to move as one, their individual strengths combining to form a greater whole. This sense of camaraderie, fostered through shared challenges and triumphs, was a subtle yet powerful aspect of their education. In the Spartan Agoge, the concept of strength through simplicity extended beyond physical exercises. It permeated every facet of their lives, teaching them to find value in the unadorned and the essential. The simplicity of their training mirrored the simplicity of their lifestyle, a reflection of their belief in the power of restraint and moderation. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the training grounds, the young Spartans would pause, their bodies weary but invigorated. In the quiet of that moment, they could sense the strength they were building, not just in muscle, but in spirit. The simplicity of their training had taught them to find joy in the journey, to appreciate the subtle victories that came with each day of effort. In the end, the early training of a Spartan was about more than physical prowess. It was a lesson in the art of living with intention, of finding strength in the everyday. Through the lens of simplicity, they discovered that true resilience was not about complexity or excess, but about the quiet, steady cultivation of one's own potential. And in this, they found the heart of what it meant to be Spartan, strong, resilient, and steadfast in the face of whatever challenges lay ahead. In the hushed corridors of ancient Sparta, the whispers of history tell tales of resilience and endurance, the intangible threads woven into the very fabric of Spartan society. As young boys embarked upon their journey within the Agoge, the renowned Spartan education system, they encountered a world where the ordinary comforts of life were deliberately scarce. This scarcity was not a result of neglect or oversight, but rather a carefully orchestrated strategy to cultivate a formidable mental and physical fortitude. Imagine, if you will, a world where the pangs of hunger were not merely a sensation to be quelled with haste, but a lesson in disguise, an opportunity to forge strength and resilience. The Spartan youth were encouraged to embrace hunger, to let it linger and teach them the art of endurance. This was not a practice born out of cruelty, but out of a profound understanding that hardship, when faced with stoic acceptance, could become a powerful teacher. The dining halls of the Spartan barracks were places where simplicity reigned supreme. Meals were modest by design, often consisting of black broth, a staple dish made from pork, blood, salt, and vinegar. The taste was said to be an acquired one, though the young Spartans had little choice but to acquire it. This frugality served a dual purpose. It not only conserved resources, but also instilled a sense of discipline and appreciation for the essentials. In this environment, hunger became a companion, ever-present and unyielding. Yet it was through this constant presence that the young Spartans learned to transcend their physical cravings, to find strength in their ability to endure. They were taught to eat only what was necessary, to savor the simplicity of their meals, and to understand that true power lay not in abundance, but in the ability to thrive with little. This practice of enduring hunger was not merely a test of physical stamina, it was a profound exercise in mental resilience. The Spartans believed that those who could master their bodily needs could also master their fears and doubts. Hunger, therefore, became a metaphor for the greater challenges of life. It was a reminder that discomfort is often fleeting, and that the mind, when disciplined, can rise above the body's demands. Reflecting upon this, one might consider how the absence of abundance can sharpen the senses and focus the mind. In a world awash with plenty, the the Spartan approach offers a contemplative pause, a chance to ponder the virtues of simplicity and the strength that can be found in restraint. The young Spartans, through their daily trials, were not just building stronger bodies, but cultivating a mindset that valued perseverance and endurance above all. The lessons of hunger and hardship extended beyond the dining table. The Spartan boys were also exposed to the elements, enduring the cold winds of winter and the scorching heat of summer with minimal protection. Their clothing was simple, their feet often bare, pressing against the earth with a familiarity that forged a deep connection to their land. The chill of the morning air and the bite of the midday sun were constant companions, yet they too were embraced as teachers of endurance. In this way, the young Spartans learned that hardship was not something to be feared or avoided, but rather an integral part of their training. It was through these continual trials that they discovered the depths of their own resilience, the hidden reservoirs of strength that lay dormant until challenged. As we reflect upon this Spartan ideal, we are reminded of the timeless wisdom embedded within their practices. In a world that often seeks comfort and ease, the Spartans beckon us to consider the value of embracing discomfort, of finding strength in simplicity, and of cultivating a mind that is as steadfast as the ancient mountains that cradled their civilization. In this gentle exploration of Spartan endurance, we find a narrative that speaks not only of history, but of the enduring human spirit. The young Spartans, in their quest to conquer hunger and hardship, teach us that true strength lies not in the absence of challenge, but in the courage to face it with unwavering resolve. In the quiet corridors of Spartan training, there existed a profound emphasis on the art of silent obedience. This was not merely a practice, but a deeply ingrained aspect of Spartan life, a subtle dance of discipline that underpinned the very fabric of their society. To an outsider, the idea of obedience might seem simplistic or rigid. However, within the Spartan framework, it was a nuanced skill, cultivated with care and precision, ensuring that each individual was finely attuned to the collective rhythm of their comrades. Picture, if you will, the gentle rustle of olive leaves in the wind, a natural symphony conducted by the unseen forces of nature. Much like these leaves, young Spartans were taught to move in harmony, to respond not with words but with actions, and to understand the unspoken commands that governed their lives. Silent obedience was a skill that transcended mere discipline. It was the foundation of unity, a crucial element in the seamless operations of their formidable phalanx formations. This practice began with the simplest of tasks. At first, it might involve merely standing still, listening to the subtle cues of a mentor's presence, or responding to the faintest gesture. Here, in the quietude of their early years, Spartans learned to listen with their entire being. They were taught that every movement, every glance held meaning. It was through this silent education that they developed an acute awareness of their surroundings, an essential trait for warriors who needed to anticipate the movements of allies and adversaries alike. The importance of silence went beyond the physical. It was also a mental discipline, a way to cultivate focus and clarity. Imagine the mind as a still pond where a single stone can send ripples across its surface. In the same way, the mental discipline of silent obedience allowed Spartans to maintain a calm and clear mind, even in the chaos of battle. This clarity enabled them to make quick decisions, to act without hesitation, and to trust implicitly in the commands of their leaders. In the communal barracks, silence was as much a part of the environment as the stones and wood. Here, young Spartans lived and trained together, learning to communicate through a shared understanding rather than spoken words. The Barracks served as a microcosm of Spartan society, where the principles of silent obedience were both taught and practiced daily. It was here that they learned to trust one another implicitly, to move as one organism, each part vital to the whole. This trust was essential in battle, where noise could be a deadly distraction. Imagine standing shoulder to shoulder in the phalanx, the weight of armor pressing down, the cacophony of battle surrounding you. In such moments, the ability to operate silently, to follow orders without question, became a matter of survival. Each Spartan knew that their life depended not just on their own actions, but on the coordinated efforts of their comrades. A silent obedience ensured that there was no confusion, no hesitation, only the seamless execution of a well-rehearsed strategy. Moreover, silent obedience was a means of fostering respect and resilience. By learning to follow orders without question, Spartans developed a profound respect for authority and the chain of command. This respect was not born out of fear, but from an understanding of the greater good. Each Spartan was a vital part of a larger whole, and their individual actions contributed to the success of their community. This sense of duty and responsibility was ingrained from an early age, reinforcing the bonds of loyalty and brotherhood that were essential to Spartan life. It is worth noting that silent obedience also had its roots in the philosophical underpinnings of Spartan society. The Spartans valued self-control and restraint, qualities that were reflected in their adherence to silence. By mastering the art of silent obedience, they demonstrated their ability to control not just their actions but their thoughts and emotions. This self-mastery was seen as a mark of true strength and was highly esteemed in Spartan culture. In essence, the art of silent obedience was a critical element in the making of a Spartan warrior. It was a skill that required patience, practice, and an unwavering commitment to the collective good. Through silence, Spartans learned to communicate on a deeper level, to trust in their training and their leaders, and to work together as a unified force. This silent discipline was the bedrock of their legendary resilience and effectiveness in battle, a testament to the power of quiet strength in the face of adversity. As we reflect on this aspect of Spartan training, we are reminded of the timeless value of silent obedience in our own lives. In a world often filled with noise and distraction, the ability to listen, to understand, and to act with purpose is a skill worth cultivating. It encourages us to find harmony in our actions, to appreciate the power of unity, and to recognize the strength that lies in stillness. Through the gentle art of silent obedience, we too might discover a deeper connection to the world around us and to each other. In the quiet recesses of ancient Sparta, where the landscape itself seemed sculpted by the hands of gods and the whispering breezes carried tales of heroism and honor, there unfolded a unique educational journey for young Spartan boys. Unlike the intensity of their physical training, Spartan education was a subtle and harmonious process, one that sought to cultivate the mind with the same dedication it did the body. While the world often remembers Sparta for its martial prowess, less is said about the formative years when these warriors were first introduced to the world of reading, music, and culture. This was a time when young Spartans learned to balance the austerity of their physical discipline with the softer, yet equally powerful, pursuits of the intellect. Reading in the Spartan educational system was not merely an exercise in literacy. It was an initiation into the accumulated wisdom of their ancestors. a key to unlock the shared narratives of their people. In these sessions, young Spartans would sit cross-legged on the cool stone floors of their modest classrooms, their attention drawn towards the rhythmic voice of their instructor. The words were ancient and noble, echoing the deeds of legendary heroes and the foundational myths of their society. This was an education not just in words, but in values and identity. The texts chosen were not voluminous tomes or philosophical treatises, but rather concise, potent narratives and poems that encapsulated Spartan ideals. The Iliad and the Odyssey, while originally from Athens and Ionia, were revered works that found their place here, too. These stories of epic battles and the trials of Odysseus resonated deeply with the Spartan ethos. The young boys, their minds still malleable and impressionable, learned of honor, bravery, and the virtues of cunning and endurance. The characters within these pages became more than just figures of fiction. They were archetypes to emulate, models of conduct worthy of a Spartan's ambition. Music, likewise, played a crucial role in their education. The Spartans, though often characterized by their stern demeanor, appreciated the profound effect of music on the soul. It was said that music had the power to ignite passion on the battlefield and soothe the heart during times of peace. The boys were taught to sing and to listen, their voices rising in unison to the songs of their forefathers. These were not just any songs. They were paeans and hymns, melodies steeped in tradition and purpose, each note a step towards understanding the harmonious balance between strength and serenity. The lyre, a gentle instrument with its strings plucked to produce soft, lilting tones, was a common companion in these lessons. It was believed that mastering such an instrument would instill a sense of rhythm and harmony, qualities that were indispensable not only in music, but also in the orderly ranks of the Phalanx. The discipline required to learn and perform was akin to that demanded on the field, an exercise in patience and precision. Cultural education in Sparta was not solely about acquiring knowledge, but about shaping character. The young were taught that the arts were not to be pursued for personal glory or pleasure, but as a means to serve the community. Through this lens, education was a collective endeavor, one that bound the individual to the greater whole. The songs they sang were communal, and the stories they read were the shared heritage of their people. This cultural instruction also extended beyond the confines of the classroom. Festivals and religious ceremonies offered further opportunities for learning and participation. The Gymnopedia, an annual event celebrating athleticism and dance, was a moment when young Spartans could witness the synergy of physical prowess and artistic expression. Participation in such events was a rite of passage, an opportunity for the youth to demonstrate not only their physical capabilities, but also their understanding of rhythm and grace. In the Spartan view, education was as much about inculcating a sense of duty as it was about fostering individual talents. Their education system did not encourage philosophical debate or the pursuit of intellectualism for its own sake, as was the case in Athens. Instead, it aimed to create individuals who were well-rounded and wholly dedicated to the Spartan ideal. The lessons on reading and music, though seemingly gentle, were part of a broader strategy to forge resilient, adaptable individuals. By immersing the youth in the cultural fabric of their society, the Spartans ensured that their warriors were not just physically formidable, but also mentally and spiritually grounded. These early lessons taught them to appreciate the subtleties of life, to find solace and strength in the quiet moments between battles. And so, in the quietude of those educational spaces, Amidst the sound of lyres and the murmur of ancient texts, the young Spartans learned to weave their lives into the larger tapestry of their civilization. Here, in this blend of discipline and culture, they found the true essence of what it meant to be Spartan, a balance of mind, body, and spirit, each part in harmony with the others, much like the rhythmic march of their phalanx across the fields of history. In the quiet amber glow of the early Spartan dawn, the young trainees gather, their breath visible in the brisk air. The day begins with the rhythmic sound of bare feet on packed earth, a symphony of footsteps creating a steady beat that echoes through the training grounds. Running, you see, is not merely an exercise of speed and endurance. It is a foundation, a fundamental part of the Spartan warrior's journey. The terrain is varied and challenging, from the soft sands by the riverbank to the steep, rocky hillsides beyond the village. These young boys who have left the comforts of home learn to adapt, their bodies becoming instruments finely tuned for the demands of war. Running serves not only to strengthen the legs and lungs, but also to instill a sense of rhythm and pace. It is as much about mental stamina as it is physical resilience. The boys are encouraged to find their stride, to learn the art of conserving energy, and to understand the subtlety of motion. As they run, they are taught to be mindful of their surroundings, to feel the earth beneath their feet, and to listen to the whispers of nature, skills that will serve them well in the silent approach of the phalanx. Once the morning run concludes, attention turns to the wrestling grounds, a dusty arena where strength, agility, and strategy blend seamlessly. Wrestling is a core component of their training, a test of both physical prowess and mental acuity. Here, the young Spartans engage in a dance of force and finesse, learning to use their opponent's weight and momentum to their advantage. With every grapple and throw, they gain a deeper understanding of leverage and balance. Wrestling is more than just a test of strength. It is an exercise in discipline and respect. The boys learn to anticipate their opponent's moves, to remain calm under pressure, and to accept defeat with dignity. Each match is a lesson in humility, a reminder that true strength lies not in brute force alone, but in the wisdom to know when to yield and when to press forward. It is an early education in the complexities of combat, where the body becomes both weapon and armor. The training in wrestling is complemented by practice in pankration, an ancient form of mixed martial arts that combines boxing and wrestling techniques. Pankration is a more intense, unyielding form of combat training, pushing the young Spartans to their limits. It demands courage and resilience, teaching the boys to harness their inner strength and channel it with precision and control. This early exposure to combat ensures that they are not only physically prepared, but also mentally conditioned to face the adversities of battle. As the sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across the training grounds, the focus shifts to early combat skills. Armed with wooden replicas of spears and shields, the boys begin to learn the basics of Spartan warfare. Their instructors, seasoned warriors themselves, guide them through the fundamental stances and techniques, ensuring each movement is executed with precision. The wooden spear, light yet sturdy, becomes an extension of their arm, a tool of defense and attack. These early lessons in combat are not about aggression, they are about control and coordination. The boys learn to move as one, to synchronize their actions with those of their peers. This sense of unity is what will make them formidable on the battlefield, a phalanx of warriors moving with a single purpose. They practice maneuvers designed to protect the man beside them, understanding that their strength lies in their ability to work as a cohesive unit. The training is relentless, yet it is woven with moments of quiet reflection, where the boys are encouraged to contemplate the values of courage, honor, and loyalty. These are the principles that will guide them, the moral compass that will lead them through the chaos of battle. The instructors, with their quiet authority, remind the boys that true warriors are not driven by a desire for glory, but by a commitment to protect their homeland and comrades. In these early stages, the physical training is interspersed with philosophical teachings, lending depth to the lessons. The young Spartans are taught that every action has a purpose, every movement a meaning. As they grapple and spar, they are reminded that the path of the warrior is not one of violence but of discipline and restraint. It is a path that demands sacrifice and dedication, virtues that are instilled in them from a young age. As the day draws to a close, the young Spartans gather once more, their bodies weary but their spirits undaunted. They are reminded that the skills they are honing are not merely for combat but for life. Running, wrestling, and early combat training are but the stepping stones on their journey to becoming full-fledged warriors. Each day brings with it new challenges and new lessons, and with each step they edge closer to fulfilling their destiny. The quiet camaraderie among the boys, forged through shared trials and triumphs, is a testament to the strength of the Spartan spirit. They learn to rely on one another, to support each other through the rigors of training. This bond, this brotherhood, is as vital to their development as any physical skill, for it is in unity that they will find their true power. In the gentle embrace of dusk, the young warriors retire, their bodies aching but their hearts full of purpose. They rest with the knowledge that they are part of a tradition that stretches back through the ages, a lineage of strength and resilience. And as they close their eyes, they dream not of conquest or victory, but of the journey they are on, a journey that will shape them into the warriors of legend. In the gentle, pre-dawn light, the Spartan landscape lay shrouded in a serene mist, a quiet reflection of the undisturbed calm before the day's trials began. Yet beneath this tranquil facade, there was a vibrant undercurrent of expectation and readiness. This was the realm of the young Spartan, where the culture of competition was as natural as the rising sun. In ancient Sparta, the spirit of competition was not merely a pastime but a vital part of life, woven into the very fabric of the society's identity. From an early age, Spartan youths were immersed in an environment that revered excellence, where the pursuit of personal and collective achievement was not just encouraged but expected. It was through various contests and challenges that these young minds and bodies were molded, instilling a resilience that would serve them throughout their lives. Imagine, if you will, a group of Spartan boys, their faces set with the determination of youth, gathered in a clearing where the ground bore the scuff marks of countless competitions. Here the air was filled with the sounds of focused exertion and the occasional understated cheer, a testament to the camaraderie that accompanied their contests. Each challenge, whether a test of strength, agility, or strategy, was an opportunity to hone their skills and push beyond the limits they had known. Consider the foot races, where the fleet-footed would sprint across the uneven terrain, their bare feet deftly navigating the stones and dust. It was not merely speed that they sought to master, but also endurance and the ability to pace themselves under pressure. These races were more than just a measure of who was fastest. They were a lesson in perseverance and pacing, in knowing when to conserve energy and when to unleash it. Wrestling, too, held a revered place in the Spartan competitive ethos. In the wrestling pits, young Spartans learned the art of grappling, where brute strength alone was insufficient. Here, strategy and technique took precedence, teaching them the value of mental acuity in physical contests. Each bout was a silent dialogue between opponents, a test of who could outthink as well as outmuscle the other. The lessons from these contests transcended the physical, imparting skills that would be invaluable on the battlefield. But competition extended beyond the physical. The Spartan culture recognized the importance of intellectual and artistic pursuits, and young Spartans engaged in contests of music and poetry. These were as much a part of their training as the physical challenges, fostering a well-rounded excellence. Such contests underscored the belief that a Spartan's strength lay not only in their body, but in their mind and spirit as well. These various competitions, whether in the wrestling pit or through song and verse, cultivated a spirit of discipline and humility. Winning was celebrated, but losing was not a mark of shame. Instead, it was a stepping stone to improvement, a reminder that there was always room for growth. In this way, competition became a teacher, guiding young Spartans to strive for mastery while accepting the inevitability of setbacks with grace. The communal nature of Spartan society further amplified the impact of these contests. Successes were celebrated by all, not just the individual, reinforcing a sense of unity and shared purpose. A boy excelling in a foot race brought honor not only to himself but to his group, his family, and by extension, the broader Spartan community. This collective pride encouraged each Spartan to push harder, to be better, for the glory was shared and the bonds strengthened. Yet the culture of competition was not one of harsh rivalry, but rather of mutual encouragement. While there was undoubtedly a desire to outdo one another, there was also an underlying respect for one's peers. The boys were comrades first, competitors second, understanding that each contest was a chance to learn from one another, to grow in skill and character. This ethos of cooperative competition ensured that while the stakes were high, the bonds of friendship remained unbroken. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the training grounds, the day's competitions would draw to a close. The youthful Spartans, weary yet invigorated, would gather to reflect on their experiences. In the twilight, they would share stories of the day's triumphs and challenges, their voices mingling with the evening breeze, reinforcing the camaraderie that competition had fostered among them. Through this culture of competition, young Spartans learned the enduring values of resilience and excellence. They internalized the lessons that would carry them forward, shaping them into warriors who were not only formidable in battle, but also wise in spirit. In this way, the competitive spirit of Sparta was not an end in itself, but a means to cultivate a deeper understanding of oneself and one's place within the community. In the quiet moments between their contests, as they lay on the cool earth gazing at the stars, these young Spartans might have pondered the nature of their pursuit. They would have understood that competition was not just about victory, but about becoming the best version of oneself. It was about finding strength in unity, learning from every challenge, and carrying those lessons into the broader tapestry of life. In the soft glow of morning light, as the sun gently kissed the rugged terrain of ancient Laconia, young Spartan boys began another day in the Agoge, a day that would test not just their physical prowess, but the very essence of their loyalty and brotherhood. This was not mere friendship that blossomed within these communal barracks, but a profound connection, forged in the fires of shared struggle and relentless discipline. In the heart of Spartan society, loyalty was not so much taught as it was lived. It was a silent understanding that rippled through every action, every decision made by those who walked the path of the warrior. From a tender age, these boys learned that their survival, their success, and indeed the very continuation of Sparta as a bastion of strength, depended upon their unwavering fidelity to one another. Their days were filled with tasks that required cooperation, nurturing a sense of unity that transcended individual ambitions. Whether it was lifting a fellow comrade who had stumbled or synchronizing their movements in the rigorous drills, every moment was a lesson in the art of being part of something greater than oneself. These experiences stitched together a tapestry of interconnected lives, each thread vital to the whole. This bond was not forged in isolation. It was a shared journey, a pact made without words, deepened by the trials they endured side by side. Wrestling on the dusty grounds, racing across the open fields, or standing shoulder to shoulder in the Phalanx formation, every challenge was an opportunity to prove their dedication to one another. In these moments, they discovered that loyalty was not merely an expectation, but a necessity, a profound understanding that one's strength was inextricably linked to the strength of the group. This brotherhood was a living entity, a quiet presence that lingered in the air, binding them together in a bond that was both comforting and unyielding. It was a relationship nurtured by mutual respect, where the success of one was celebrated by all, and the failure of one was a shared responsibility. This collective spirit was a testament to the Spartan ideal that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. In their communal life, these young Spartans learned the subtle art of supporting one another. It was a lesson that transcended the physical, weaving into the very fabric of their being. They learned to read the unspoken cues, the silent cries for help that only a true brother could discern. In the quiet moments when the day's rigors had subsided, they would gather together, sharing stories and song, building a trust that would see them through the darkest of times. Loyalty in Spartan society was not just about the present, it was a promise to the future. It was an understanding that by standing together, they could achieve greatness beyond their individual capacities. This ethos of unity and collective strength was what set them apart, making them formidable not just as warriors, but as a society. As they matured, the lessons in loyalty and brotherhood took on new dimensions. The older youths would pass down their wisdom, guiding the younger ones in the art of maintaining these bonds. They taught that loyalty was a delicate balance, a dance between giving and receiving, leading and following. It was a lesson that resonated deeply, shaping their interactions and decisions, influencing the very way they moved through the world. These lessons were not without their challenges. There were moments of doubt, times when the strain of maintaining such a deep connection tested their resolve. But in these trials, they discovered the true depth of their loyalty. It was in the moments of weakness that their brotherhood shone the brightest, illuminating the path forward with the light of shared purpose and unwavering commitment. In the silence of the night, under the watchful gaze of the stars, these young Spartans would reflect on the bonds they had forged. They understood that loyalty and brotherhood were not just lessons to be learned, but values to be lived, guiding them through every battle, every triumph, and every loss. The Spartan ideal of loyalty and brotherhood was a profound testament to the power of human connection. It was a reminder that in a world often defined by division, there is strength in unity, and that the bonds we forge with one another are among the most enduring and powerful forces in life. As we reflect upon the lessons of the Spartans, we are reminded of the timeless nature of these bonds, the way they echo through history, shaping not just the warriors of ancient Greece, but the very essence of human society. In this quiet reflection, we find a gentle reminder of our own connections, the loyalty we share with those around us, and the brotherhood that sustains us through life's many challenges. In the quiet valleys and rugged hills of ancient Sparta, a community of young boys embarked on a journey that was as much about the soul as it was about the sinew. Here, in the heart of the Agoge, the Spartan system of education and training, one finds the gentle yet firm hands of mentors and older youths guiding and shaping these young minds and bodies. The relationship between the young initiates and their older counterparts was one of understated importance. Much like the gentle shaping of clay, these relationships molded the character and fortitude of the young Spartans, ensuring they would grow into the warriors that history would remember. Picture, if you will, a young boy of 7, newly embarked on this rigorous path. The world as he knew it, the comforts of home and the soft embrace of familial warmth, had been exchanged for the austere quarters of the communal barracks. It is here, amidst the hum of youthful activity and the quiet resolve of discipline, that he would find his guide, a mentor perhaps not much older, yet imbued with the wisdom of experience. These mentors, often youths in their late teens or early 20s, were not merely instructors in the martial arts but custodians of a deeper, more profound education. Their role was akin to a sculptor gently chiseling away at the marble, revealing the hidden form within. Through their guidance, the young Spartans learned not just the skills of combat, but the essence of what it meant to be Spartan. To understand the influence of these mentors, one must appreciate the delicate balance they maintained between authority and camaraderie. They were figures of respect, yet not so distant as to be unapproachable. In the Spartan ethos, where silence and obedience were often valued above words, these mentors taught through example and subtle instruction. A raised eyebrow, a slight nod, or a moment of shared silence could convey lessons more profound than any lecture. In this environment, learning was a tapestry woven from the threads of daily life. The older youths demonstrated not just how to wield a spear or hold a shield, but how to embody the virtues that underpinned Spartan society: courage, discipline, and loyalty. These were not abstract concepts but lived experiences, observable in the daily routines and interactions within the barracks. The older youths also provided a bridge between the young trainees and the adult world they would one day enter. They were the living embodiments of the path ahead, and in them, the younger boys could see their future selves. This role was a vital one, for it offered a tangible aspiration, a vision of what disciplined effort and adherence to the Spartan way could achieve. In the quiet moments between drills, perhaps as the sun dipped below the horizon casting long shadows across the training grounds, these mentors would share stories of their own journeys. Tales of endurance, of moments when the spirit wavered but did not break, of the sweet satisfaction found in the mastery of one's self. These stories, shared in hushed tones, were more than entertainment. They were lessons in resilience, in the quiet strength that lay beneath the surface of every Spartan warrior. Moreover, the relationship was reciprocal. The younger boys, with their untempered energy and fresh perspectives, often reminded their mentors of the purity of the Spartan ideals. In guiding others, the older youths reaffirmed their own understanding and commitment to these principles, ensuring that the cycle of learning was continuous and reinforcing. The Spartan system, though rigorous, was not devoid of warmth. It was within these mentor-mentee relationships that a softer side of the Agoge was revealed. Bonds formed here could last a lifetime, grounded in mutual respect and shared experience. The older youths, having once been in the same position, understood the challenges faced by their charges and offered not just instruction, but empathy and support. In a society that prized stoicism and endurance, these connections provided a quiet refuge, a place where the young Spartans could find reassurance amidst the rigors of training. It was a symbiotic relationship, a dance of learning and teaching that ensured the perpetuation of the Spartan way. As we reflect upon these interactions, it becomes evident that the role of mentors and older youths was not merely functional but foundational. They were the silent architects of Spartan character, shaping not just warriors but citizens, capable of contributing to the polis with wisdom and strength. In the serene landscapes of ancient Sparta, beneath the endless blue of the Grecian sky, these relationships flourished, contributing to the enduring legacy of a civilization that understood the profound impact of human connection on the journey to greatness. And in this understanding, the young Spartans found not just mentors, but kindred spirits on a shared path of discovery and growth. In the stillness of night, under a canopy of stars that twinkled like scattered grains of sand along the shore of the Aegean, the Spartan youth would slip into the shadows. Each step was a deliberate whisper against the earth, a careful negotiation with the world around him. For in Sparta, the art of stealth was not merely about avoiding detection. It was an exercise in becoming one with the environment, moving as naturally and invisibly as the wind through the reeds. The training in stealth began with an appreciation for silence. It was said that silence was as much a weapon as the spear or shield, and the young Spartans learned to wield it with precision. In a world where words were measured and excess was frowned upon, the ability to move without sound was a testament to one's discipline and cunning. The nighttime exercises were lessons in restraint, where the rustle of a leaf or the snap of a twig could mean the difference between success and failure. The ancients believed that to move unnoticed required an understanding of nature, a lesson in observation as much as in action. Thus, the young warriors would study the movements of animals, the ways in which a fox might slink through the underbrush or a bird glide silently overhead. These lessons were reflected in their own movements as they learned to blend with the landscape, becoming shadows among shadows. Stealth, however, was not solely about physical movement. It required a sharp mind and keen senses, an awareness of one's surroundings and the ability to anticipate the actions of others. To be cunning was to think several steps ahead, to foresee potential obstacles and bypass them with subtlety. The Spartans cultivated this mental agility through games and exercises designed to sharpen their wits, often involving complex puzzles or challenges that demanded quick thinking and adaptability. The art of stealth also found its place in the broader tapestry of Spartan culture, where deception was sometimes seen as a necessary skill in both war and diplomacy. In the Phalanx, a formation as formidable as a mountain range, a well-timed feint could unbalance an enemy, turning the tide of battle. Similarly, in negotiations, the ability to conceal one's intentions until the opportune moment was highly valued. In their training, the young Spartans would often engage in exercises that required them to infiltrate a designated area without being detected by their peers. These exercises were more than just physical challenges. They were lessons in patience and timing. A successful infiltration required careful planning and the ability to adapt one's strategy on the fly. Such training honed not only their stealth, but also their capacity for independent thought and decision-making. The act of moving quietly through the world also had a meditative quality, a chance for the young warriors to connect with something larger than themselves. In the silence, they could hear the rhythm of their own breath, the beating of their hearts in concert with the natural world. This connection fostered a sense of humility, a recognition of their place within the greater scheme of life. Yet the teachings of stealth were not confined to the battlefield. In everyday life, a Spartan's ability to read a situation and act with subtlety could earn respect and admiration. The skill of listening, of hearing what was unsaid, was a valuable asset in the complex social dynamics of Spartan society. It was a reminder that power often lay in the quiet moments, in the spaces between words where true meaning was found. The young Spartans were also taught the importance of maintaining a calm exterior, even in the face of adversity. To remain composed was to hold power, to influence the world around them without uttering a word. This inner stillness was cultivated through exercises in self-control, teaching them to master their emotions and reactions, an essential skill for any warrior. As they grew older, the lessons in stealth and cunning became more nuanced, integrating with the other aspects of their training, forming a cohesive whole. The art of moving unseen was not just a skill, but a philosophy, one that encouraged them to move through life with awareness and intention. In the end, the Spartan approach to stealth was a reflection of their broader worldview, an understanding that true strength lay not only in physical prowess, but in the ability to adapt, to outthink, and to outmaneuver. It was a quiet strength, one that whispered across the ages, leaving an indelible mark on the annals of history. As the young Spartans learned to navigate the shadows, they discovered a truth that resonated far beyond the confines of their city, that sometimes the most profound power lies in what is unseen. In the quietude of the Spartan landscape, where the mountains cradle the city-state in a protective embrace, the Spartans understood the power of the mind as much as the strength of the body. The rolling hills and tranquil rivers seemed to whisper lessons of restraint, lessons that were woven into the fabric of Spartan life with the same care and precision as their legendary red cloaks. These lessons were not only about controlling the body, but also about mastering the mind, a pursuit that was as rigorous as any physical training. The Spartan society valued restraint deeply, seeing it as the bedrock of their disciplined way of life. From an early age, Spartan boys were introduced to the concept of self-control, which was considered essential for maintaining the unity and efficiency of their ranks. In the Agoge, the renowned Spartan educational system, the young were taught that restraint was not merely the absence of action, but a deliberate choice, a strength that lay hidden beneath the surface, much like the roots of a mighty oak tree that, though unseen, provides stability and strength. The mental training focused on restraint began subtly, with exercises that encouraged the young Spartans to hold back from immediate gratification. Simple tasks, such as waiting in silence before meals or standing still for prolonged periods, were designed to cultivate patience and self-control. These exercises were not about the denial of pleasure, but about the mastery of one's impulses. In a world where swift action was often necessary, the ability to pause and reflect became a powerful tool, a shield as vital as any forged from bronze. These lessons were reinforced through the stories and songs passed down through generations. The tales of ancient heroes who exemplified the virtues of restraint and wisdom served as both inspiration and guidance. The young Spartans learned of the warrior who, when faced with provocation, chose not to draw his sword but instead offered a measured response. Such stories painted restraint not as a weakness but as the hallmark of true strength, an inner fortress that no enemy could breach. In the communal barracks, the lessons of restraint were further tested. Living in close quarters with their peers, the young Spartans learned to manage their emotions and temper their reactions. Disagreements and conflicts were inevitable, yet the ability to resolve them with composure and dignity was valued above all. The quiet nod of a mentor, the approving glance of an older youth, these were the rewards for those who demonstrated self-control, reinforcing the idea that restraint was a virtue well worth cultivating. The Spartans also understood the importance of mental discipline in the heat of battle. The training drills, though physically demanding, were as much about mental endurance as they were about physical prowess. Holding formation in the phalanx, with shields interlocked and spears poised, required a collective restraint, a mutual understanding that each warrior would maintain his position, no matter the chaos that surrounded him. In these moments, the lessons of mental restraint found their ultimate expression, as each Spartan relied not only on his own discipline, but on the restraint of his brothers in arms. Meditation and reflection were encouraged, albeit in a form unique to the Spartan ethos. The quiet moments before dawn as the city-state lay still offered a chance for introspection and mental rehearsal. The Spartans would visualize the challenges ahead, practicing restraint in their thoughts, preparing their minds to remain calm and focused. This practice, though simple, was profoundly effective, embedding the principles of restraint deep within the psyche of each warrior. The art of restraint, as taught in Spartan society, was not about suppressing desires or emotions, but about harnessing them. It was about finding strength in moderation, about wielding one's mind with the same precision as a well-balanced spear. This mental discipline was a vital component of the Spartan warriors' training, an invisible armor that complemented the physical prowess for which they were famed. In the end, the lessons of restraint were about balance and harmony. They taught the young Spartans to navigate the delicate dance between action and inaction, between speech and silence, between the individual and the collective. These lessons, though learned in the confines of the Agoge, would serve them well throughout their lives, guiding them as they stood on the front lines, as they led their families, and as they upheld the values of their city-state. And so, the training of the mind for restraint became a quiet, enduring legacy, a testament to the Spartan commitment to discipline in all its forms. In the stillness of the barracks, in the whispers of the wind across the plains, the lessons of restraint continue to echo, shaping each generation with the silent strength of 1,000 years. Imagine a world where the measure of a person is not found in their possessions, but in their resilience. The Spartans, as we shall explore in this chapter, exemplified this ideal through their approach to clothing and comfort, or rather, the deliberate absence of it. As we wend our way through the fabric of Spartan life, we find that simplicity is not merely a choice but a philosophy, woven into the very essence of their being. In the gentle morning light, a young Spartan boy might have risen from his slumber, the chill of the night still lingering in the air. Unlike many of us who might reach for a warm jumper or a soft pair of slippers, his surroundings offered him little in the way of immediate comfort. A single cloak, the himation, was his constant companion, a versatile piece of woolen fabric that served as his clothing by day and his blanket by night. This cloak, unadorned and unassuming, was a testament to the Spartan ethos, one of understated utility and resilience. The Spartan approach to attire was not dictated by fashion or vanity, but by necessity and function. This singular garment was designed to provide just enough warmth and protection against the elements, encouraging the body to adapt and grow stronger in the face of nature's vicissitudes. It was a philosophy that etched itself into the very skin of the young Spartans, toughening them and preparing them for the challenges that lay beyond the sanctuary of childhood. Barefoot, the Spartan youths would traverse the rough terrain, their soles gradually hardening to withstand the rigors of the land. This practice was not simply an exercise in endurance, but a lesson in the art of embracing discomfort. By foregoing the luxury of sandals or boots, the Spartans cultivated a direct connection with the earth beneath them, fostering a resilience that transcended the physical and seeped into the mental and emotional fibers of their being. Such minimalism in dress and comfort was a deliberate measure, a way of life that nurtured inner strength and self-reliance. It was an education in fortitude, an understanding that true comfort arises not from external trappings, but from an internal wellspring of discipline and resilience. Through this lens, the Spartan lifestyle begins to unfold as a profound meditation on the nature of human endurance. The simplicity of Spartan attire also served as a great leveler among its people. With no elaborate garments to distinguish one from another, the Spartans embraced a culture of equality and fraternity. Their clothing, or lack thereof, became a symbol of unity, a reminder that each individual was part of a greater whole, bound together by shared values and common purpose. In this regard, the Spartan cloak was more than just a piece of clothing. It was a canvas upon which the stories of their lives were written. It bore witness to their daily struggles, their triumphs, and their defeats. As it grew more threadbare with time, it mirrored the wearer's own journey, a silent testament to the growth and transformation that came from living a life of deliberate simplicity. This Spartan ideal of minimal comfort extended beyond clothing to every aspect of their daily lives. Their homes, too, were marked by this same stark simplicity. Devoid of unnecessary embellishments, a Spartan home was a reflection of the people who inhabited it, functional, austere, and resilient. It was a space that encouraged introspection and self-sufficiency, a sanctuary free from the distractions of opulence. In embracing this way of life, the Spartans cultivated a profound sense of presence and awareness. By stripping away the superfluous, they were able to focus on what truly mattered, honing their attention on the tasks at hand and the relationships that sustained them. It was a life pared down to its essentials, rich in purpose and intent. As we reflect on the Spartan way of living, we might find ourselves pondering the nature of comfort in our own lives. In a world that often equates happiness with material abundance, the Spartan example offers a gentle reminder that true contentment lies not in the accumulation of things, but in the strength of the human spirit. It prompts us to consider the ways in which we, too, might embrace simplicity and resilience, finding comfort not in the softness of our surroundings, but in the fortitude of our hearts. The Spartan cloak, the bare feet, the minimal comforts, these were not just elements of their daily existence, but lessons in the art of living. They taught the Spartans, and perhaps teach us, that the greatest strength often arises from the greatest simplicity. In the quiet moments before sleep, when the mind is free to wander and reflect, we might find solace in this thought, allowing it to guide us gently into a landscape of dreams, where the true measure of a person is found not in what they possess, but in who they are. In the quiet chill of a Spartan winter, the air thickens with a palpable stillness, as if nature herself were holding her breath. The landscape, stripped of its vibrant colors, lays bare the earth's rugged simplicity, a fitting backdrop for the young Spartans in training, who, like the land itself, are being honed into something formidable through the art of winter hardening and exposure. This practice, much like the sculptor's patient chiseling of marble, is designed to shape not just the body, but also the spirit. The aim is to build resilience, a quality that is neither flashy nor immediately visible, but is undeniably essential. The Spartans understood that true strength is not a product of comfort but of challenge, and thus they embraced the harshness of winter as a teacher. Imagine, if you will, a group of young boys, barely into their second decade, standing in the early morning frost. Their breath forms clouds in the crisp air, a testament to the warmth they must generate from within. Clad in little more than their customary cloaks, they are a living lesson in austerity. These cloaks, thin and inadequate by most standards, serve a purpose beyond mere warmth. They are a reminder of the necessity to derive heat from one's own inner reserves. The practice of exposure to the cold was not merely about enduring the elements. It was a lesson in adaptability, teaching these young warriors the vital skill of maintaining composure under duress. In the unyielding grasp of winter, they learned to move with precision and to conserve energy, each breath a deliberate act of survival, each step a testament to their growing mastery over their own bodies. Winter hardening was an exercise in humility, an acknowledgement of nature's vast power and the individual's place within it. The Spartans recognized that nature could not be conquered, only respected, and so they trained to coexist with it. The cold was not an enemy to be vanquished, but an ally that could temper them into something greater. The young Spartans were taught to find comfort in discomfort, to seek out the moments of warmth that came not from external sources, but from the camaraderie of shared experience. Huddled together for respite, they discovered the strength of unity, the warmth of brotherhood forged in the cold crucible of winter. Every gust of wind that swept across their exposed skin bore a lesson in vigilance. In the depths of winter, the world becomes a place of heightened sensitivity. The Spartans learned to listen to the whispers of the wind, to read the subtle signs of impending weather changes, and to respond with a calm assurance born of practice. The lessons of winter hardening extended beyond physical endurance. The Spartans were also taught to cultivate an inner stillness, a mental fortitude that allowed them to remain unflustered in the face of adversity. In the silence of a snow-covered landscape, they found the space to turn inward, to confront their own fears and weaknesses, and to emerge stronger for having faced them. It is easy in the warmth of modern life to overlook the value of such experiences. Yet there is a quiet wisdom in the Spartan approach to winter, a recognition that the challenges we face shape us, that in hardship lies the potential for growth. By braving the elements, these young warriors learn to embrace uncertainty, to find strength in vulnerability, and to cultivate a resilience that would serve them well in battle and beyond. As the days grew longer and the grip of winter began to loosen, the young Spartans emerged from their trials with a newfound confidence. They had learned to trust in their own capabilities, to find warmth within, and to draw strength from the bonds forged in the shared struggle against the cold. It is said that the greatest journeys are those that take us within, and in this respect, the Spartan training was unrivaled. Through the practice of winter hardening and exposure, these young warriors embarked on a journey not just through the physical landscape of their homeland, but also through the inner terrain of their own potential. In doing so, they discovered that true strength resides not in the absence of fear, but in the courage to face it head-on. In the end, the Spartan winter was more than a season. It was a crucible, a place where the raw material of youth was transformed into the steel of resilience. And as the young Spartans stood on the threshold of spring, they carried with them a quiet assurance, a knowledge that they had been forged in the heart of winter, tempered by its trials, and made ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the quiet heart of Sparta, as the sun dipped beneath the hills and the cool shadows stretched across the land, the Spartans gathered for their evening meals. It was a ritual as old as the city itself, and one that embodied the very essence of Spartan life: simplicity, unity, and shared responsibility. There were no lavish feasts, no extravagant displays of culinary prowess. Instead, there was the modest fare that fueled a society built on endurance and discipline. The Spartan diet was characterized by its austerity. A typical meal might consist of black broth, a concoction that was both feared and revered. Made from boiled pig's legs, blood, salt, and vinegar, this dish was known as melas zomos. To outsiders, it might seem unappetizing, but to the Spartans, it was a staple that symbolized their indifference to luxury and comfort. The simplicity of their diet was a reflection of their values: nourishment without excess, function over form. As we consider the Spartan approach to food, it becomes apparent that each meal was more than just sustenance for the body. It was a lesson in moderation, a practice in self-restraint. The Spartans believed that a diet free from indulgence would prepare them for the rigors of war and the hardships of life. In this belief, they found strength, and in their communal meals, they found unity. Dining was a communal affair, an opportunity to reinforce the bonds between warriors, to share stories of the day, and to foster a sense of belonging. Each syssisha or dining group was a microcosm of the larger community, a gathering of equals bound by mutual respect and shared purpose. In these gatherings, the lines between individual and collective blurred, and the concept of personal ownership gave way to communal responsibility. The meals were simple but nutritious. Apart from the black broth, the Spartans consumed barley porridge, cheese, figs, and olives, foods that were readily available and required little preparation. Meat was a rarity, reserved for special occasions or as a reward for successful hunts. The diet was designed not only to sustain the body, but to cultivate a sense of equality among the diners. In the syssisha, there was no room for hierarchy. Each person received an equal portion, reinforcing the Spartan ideal that no one was above another. A gentle reflection on the nature of these meals reveals a deeper understanding of Spartan society. The act of eating together was not just a necessity, it was an exercise in collective identity. The communal table was a place where the Spartans learned to put the needs of the group above their own desires, to find satisfaction in simplicity, and to appreciate the strength that comes from unity. The ritual of shared meals also served an educational purpose. Young Spartans learned the value of discipline and moderation from their elders. They observed the older men, noting the way they conducted themselves, the manner in which they spoke, and the respect they showed for their food and each other. These observations were lessons in themselves, subtle teachings that shaped the character of the youth and prepared them for the responsibilities of adulthood. In the dim light of the dining hall, the Spartans sat shoulder to shoulder, their voices a low murmur, their movements deliberate and restrained. It was a scene of quiet camaraderie, a moment of pause in a life of constant preparation. The simplicity of the meal was mirrored in the simplicity of their interactions, direct, honest, and without pretense. The syssisha was more than just a place to eat. It was a crucible for forging the bonds that held Spartan society together. It was here that the young warriors learned to trust their comrades, to rely on them in times of need, and to support them in times of trial. The shared meal was a microcosm of the battlefield, where cooperation and mutual dependence were paramount. In the context of their diet and communal meals, we find a reflection of the Spartan ethos, an enduring commitment to the common good, a steadfast adherence to discipline, and a profound understanding of the power of unity. Each meal was a reaffirmation of these values, a reminder of the principles that guided their lives. As the meal drew to a close and the last of the black broth was consumed, the Spartans rose from the table, their bodies nourished, their spirits fortified. They left the dining hall as they had entered it, together, in silence, ready to face the challenges of a new day. In the stillness of the night, we can almost hear the echoes of their footsteps, a rhythmic reminder of the life they embraced, a life of simplicity, shared responsibility, and unwavering discipline. It is a life that even now speaks to us across the centuries, inviting us to consider the strength that lies in simplicity and the profound impact of living with intention. In the quiet valleys and rugged terrains of ancient Sparta, there lay an ethos unlike any other, a philosophy deeply woven into the fabric of its society, teaching its people the craft of living with little. This was not merely a matter of frugality, but a purposeful choice, a way to focus on what truly mattered amidst the clatter of existence. The Spartans embraced simplicity as a form of strength, a discipline that shaped their identity and fortified their resilience. The Spartan way of life was a conscious endeavor to strip away the superfluous, to hone in on the essentials, and to build a society where the individual was constantly reminded of the greater whole. In their world, possessions were not seen as markers of status, but as potential distractions. The art of living with little was a testament to their commitment to self-reliance and community strength, a philosophy that urged them to find contentment and utility in the bare minimum. One could imagine the Spartan youth, with their simple cloaks and unadorned sandals, or often bare feet, walking through the stony streets, the sun warming their skin. The absence of opulence was a silent teacher, whispering lessons of humility and focus. In the Spartan household, the treasures were not golden trinkets or lavish furnishings, but rather the enduring bonds of family and the unyielding spirit of their heritage. This simplicity cultivated a profound appreciation for what was truly necessary, allowing the Spartans to channel their energies into the pursuits of strength, discipline, and unity. The Spartan diet, too, was a reflection of this minimalist approach. Meals were communal, a ritual that emphasized equality and shared experience over individual indulgence. The famed black broth, a staple of Spartan cuisine, was emblematic of their culinary philosophy, nourishing and unpretentious, offering sustenance without extravagance. This simplicity was not born out of scarcity, but rather an intentional choice to cultivate resilience and fortitude, to prepare each citizen for the trials and tribulations that life might present. There was a certain artistry in their restraint, a deliberate practice of focusing on the intangible wealth of character and spirit rather than the ephemeral lure of material goods. The Spartan economy functioned on a system that valued utility over luxury. Iron bars were used as currency, a practical measure that discouraged accumulation and hoarding, reinforcing the idea that true wealth lay not in possessions, but in the strength of the community and the courage of its people. In this, one finds a profound lesson about the nature of abundance and scarcity. The Spartans understood that the richness of life was not measured by what one owned, but by what one could achieve with the resources at hand. This practice of minimalism was not a denial of pleasure, but rather a celebration of the freedom found in simplicity. It was a choice to live without the burdens of excess, allowing the mind and body to remain agile and unencumbered. Their training, both physical and mental, was steeped in this ethos. The Spartan warriors were taught to endure hardship and discomfort without complaint, to find strength in adversity, and to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. This mentality was a shield against the distractions of the world, a discipline that allowed them to focus on their duty and their comrades, fostering a deep sense of loyalty and camaraderie. The practice of living with little also fostered a profound connection to nature and the land they called home. The Spartans were acutely aware of the resources provided by their environment, and they learned to live in harmony with it, taking only what was needed and leaving the rest untouched. This respect for the natural world reinforced their understanding of balance and sustainability, principles that were vital to the longevity and success of their society. In the quiet moments of reflection, one might consider the enduring impact of this philosophy. The Spartan way of living with little offers a timeless reminder of the potential that lies within simplicity. It is a gentle nudge to reassess our own lives, to ponder what truly brings us joy and fulfillment, and to recognize the power of living with intention. In our modern world, where the allure of more is ever present, there is much to learn from the Spartan ideal. Their legacy invites us to question the true value of our possessions and to seek meaning beyond the material. It is a call to cultivate resilience, to cherish the bonds of community, and to find beauty in the simplicity of being. As we wander through the landscapes of our own lives, we might carry with us the quiet wisdom of the Spartans, finding strength in what we choose to leave behind, and discovering richness in the spaces we create. In the quiet, sun-drenched landscape of ancient Sparta, nestled between the rugged peaks of the Taygetus Mountains and the fertile banks of the Eurotas River, young Spartans grew under a regime as stern and unyielding as the land itself. In this world, discipline was not merely a virtue. It was a thread woven into the very fabric of life. Boundaries, both physical and moral, were set not to confine, but to define the young warriors, shaping them into paragons of strength and resilience. Punishment in the Spartan context was not an arbitrary act of retribution, but a carefully calibrated tool, wielded to instill a profound sense of discipline. It served as a reminder of expectations and the high standards to which each Spartan was held. The methods were as simple as they were effective, each designed to teach a lesson and reinforce the values embedded in Spartan society. Imagine a young boy, perhaps no more than 10, caught in a moment of disobedience or failure to uphold the community's rigorous standards. The response would be swift and deliberate. He might find himself tasked with additional physical labor, perhaps hauling water from the distant river under the relentless gaze of the midday sun. This was not just a punishment, but a lesson in endurance and the importance of duty. The physical strain was a reminder that strength of character must match strength of body. Occasionally, the disciplinary measures took the form of public rebuke, a practice intended to teach humility and accountability. In the communal society of Sparta, the opinions of peers held considerable weight. A reprimand delivered in front of one's comrades served as a powerful motivator, reinforcing the idea that one's actions impacted not just the individual, but the collective. Yet it was not only physical feats or public shaming that enforced discipline. The Spartans understood the power of silence, the art of the unspoken boundary. A simple look from an elder, a silent nod of disapproval, could communicate volumes. In this way, young Spartans learned to read the subtleties of human interaction, to perceive the tacit expectations that governed their world. It was a silent contract, an understanding that respect was earned through compliance and effort. In this austere environment, boundaries were clearly delineated, yet not without compassion. The Spartans, despite their stern exterior, valued fairness and consistency. Punishments were never administered in anger, but with a calm, measured approach. This predictability provided a sense of security, allowing the boys to understand the consequences of their actions in a rational framework. The physical boundaries were equally clear. The Spartan training grounds were places of order and discipline, where each movement was scrutinized and perfected. Here, the boys learned the boundaries of their own bodies, pushing against them to discover new reserves of strength and endurance. This was not about breaking the spirit, but about expanding the mind's perception of limitation. Beyond the physical, the concept of honor acted as a moral boundary, an invisible line that each Spartan was taught never to cross. To act with honor was to uphold the values of courage, loyalty, and integrity. These were not just abstract concepts, but lived realities, reinforced daily through word and deed. A Spartan's honor was his most prized possession, a personal boundary that defined his very identity. As the young Spartans matured, they internalized these boundaries, transforming them into self-discipline. Punishment became unnecessary, for the lessons had been learned. The boys grew into men who needed no external enforcement. Their actions were guided by an innate understanding of right and wrong, cultivated through years of consistent and fair discipline. In this way, discipline and boundaries did not suppress the Spartan spirit but refined it, like a sculptor chiseling away the excess to reveal the form within. Each lesson, each punishment was a step towards the ultimate goal, to produce individuals who embodied the Spartan ideal, warriors who were not only strong in battle, but wise in judgment and steadfast in character. Thus the cycle continued, each generation passing on the lessons learned to the next, ensuring that the spirit of discipline and respect for boundaries endured. In the process, the young Spartans grew into the guardians of their city-state, their lives a testament to the enduring power of discipline and the boundaries that shaped them. With each boundary respected, with each punishment accepted, they moved closer to the ideal that their society cherished above all, the perfect harmony of strength and restraint. In the gentle, rolling hills of ancient Sparta, a unique approach to leadership was cultivated. Here, the art of command was not merely taught, it was woven into the very fabric of a young Spartan's life. It was an education not confined to the spoken word or written text, but rather an unbroken thread of experience and example, shaping each boy into a leader, both on the battlefield and within the community. Picture for a moment the scene. A group of young boys, their faces sun-kissed and earnest, gathered around a mentor. The atmosphere is one of attentive silence, broken only by the soft rustling of leaves or the distant call of a bird. These boys, not yet men, are learning that leadership is as much about listening as it is about speaking. In the Spartan tradition, the ability to command begins with the ability to understand and to empathize. One might imagine that in a society famed for its martial prowess, leadership would be taught through force and dominance. Yet the Spartans appreciated the nuances of power. They understood that true leadership was rooted in wisdom, patience, and the quiet confidence that commands respect rather than demands it. The young Spartans learned to lead by first learning to follow, to respect their elders and mentors, and to recognize the value of collective strength over individual glory. Their lessons were subtle, often unspoken, for the Spartans cherished the power of the unsaid. A simple nod, a slight shift in stance, or the determined set of a jaw could convey volumes. This non-verbal communication was crucial in a society where silence was golden, and the ability to read and respond to the unspoken was a mark of true leadership. In this environment, the boys learned that every action, however small, could have a profound impact on those around them. The young Spartans were encouraged to observe their mentors closely, to emulate their calm decisiveness and their ability to remain composed under pressure. They learned that a leader must be as much a part of the group as he is apart from it, maintaining the delicate balance between authority and approachability. This was not an easy lesson, yet it was one of the most vital, for the strength of their society depended on leaders who could inspire trust and loyalty. The concept of command in Sparta was deeply intertwined with the idea of service. A true leader was one who placed the needs of others above his own, who would willingly sacrifice personal gain for the greater good. This selflessness was instilled in the boys through countless acts of communal living and shared hardship. They learned that no man stands alone, and that the power of a leader comes not from his position, but from the strength of the bonds he forges with those he leads. As the boys matured, they were given greater responsibilities, small at first, yet significant in their implications. Perhaps they would be tasked with leading a group on a hunting expedition or organizing the daily routines within the barracks. These experiences were crucial, for they allowed the boys to apply the lessons they had learned, to make decisions, and to face the consequences of those decisions. It was through these trials that they developed the confidence and the competence necessary to lead. The role of mentors was pivotal in this journey. These older, experienced Spartans served as guides and role models, offering support and counsel, yet allowing the boys the freedom to explore and to learn from their mistakes. In this way, the young Spartans grew into leaders who were not only capable but compassionate, understanding that leadership was as much about nurturing potential in others as it was about asserting one's own authority. The art of command was also taught through competition, though not in the sense of rivalry. Rather, it was a means of fostering excellence and pushing boundaries, encouraging each boy to strive for his personal best, while recognizing and celebrating the achievements of others. This environment of mutual encouragement and respect was a fertile ground for developing leaders who were both humble and ambitious, aware of their own strengths and weaknesses, yet always willing to learn and to grow. In these quiet, unassuming ways, the young Spartans learned to command. They absorbed the lessons of leadership as naturally as they breathed the air of their homeland, becoming part of an unbroken chain of tradition and excellence. Through discipline and dedication, they emerged as leaders not only of men but of ideas, ready to serve their community with wisdom, courage, and an unwavering commitment to the values they held dear. Thus, in the heart of Sparta, amidst the simplicity and the silence, a new generation of leaders was born, shaped by an education that transcended the ordinary, preparing them to command with integrity and to inspire with quiet strength. In the gentle rhythm of time's passage, nestled within the enduring embrace of Spartan society, a young boy's journey unfurls into adolescence. This transition, subtle yet profound, is marked by rituals that blend the echoes of ancient customs with the whispers of expectation. These rituals, more than mere rites of passage, serve as the connective tissue of Spartan culture, binding the past to the present with a quiet dignity. The transition from boyhood to adolescence in Sparta is neither sudden nor jarring, but rather an unfolding revelation, much like the gradual light of dawn. It begins with a deepening sense of self-awareness and responsibility, nurtured within the communal life that has been his world since the tender age of 7. Here, amidst the barracks and the open fields, the boy becomes increasingly attuned to the unspoken codes and traditions that shape his existence. The rituals of adolescence are not grandiose ceremonies, but rather a series of subtle milestones that speak to the heart of Spartan identity. Each milestone is a thread in the tapestry of his life, woven with care and intention. The boy, now on the cusp of adolescence, embarks on a journey of introspection, guided by the wisdom of those who have walked this path before him. Elders and mentors, with their quiet authority, offer lessons in humility and duty, emphasizing the virtues of courage and restraint. One of the first significant milestones in this journey is the ceremony of the locks. This simple yet profound act involves the cutting of the boy's hair, a symbol of shedding the innocence of childhood and embracing the responsibilities of adolescence. As the strands fall to the ground, there is an unspoken acknowledgement of change, a letting go of what was, and an opening to what is yet to come. This ritual, performed with solemnity, serves as a reminder of the impermanence of life and the constancy of growth. With each passing day, the boy is encouraged to cultivate a deeper understanding of Spartan values. He learns that silence can be as powerful as speech, and that true strength lies in restraint rather than aggression. It is a lesson reinforced through the quiet discipline of daily life, where actions speak louder than words. Here, amid the whispered rustle of the wind and the quiet tread of bare feet, he discovers the art of listening, not just to the world around him, but to the stirrings of his own heart. The concept of eunomia, or good order, becomes a guiding principle during this transitional phase. The boy is taught to see beyond the surface of things, to understand the delicate balance of justice and harmony that underpins the Spartan way of life. This understanding is not imposed, but gently encouraged, allowing him to internalize these values in a way that feels natural and enduring. As he grows, the boy begins to participate in communal activities with greater autonomy. The Agoge, which has been his home and school, becomes a stage upon which he learns to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Through shared experiences, the bonds of friendship deepen, woven tighter by the shared trials and triumphs of youth. These connections, forged in the fires of camaraderie and competition, form the bedrock of Spartan society. In this period of transition, the boy is also introduced to the concept of honor, an abstract yet vital element of Spartan life. Honor is not a trophy to be won, but a quality to be lived. It is reflected in the way he carries himself, in the respect he shows to his peers and elders, and in the integrity of his actions. Honor, he learns, is the silent measure of a man's worth. The rituals of adolescence include an increasing engagement with the arts, albeit in a manner that aligns with Spartan sensibilities. He is encouraged to sing, to participate in choral performances that celebrate the glory of Sparta and its gods. These songs, rich with history and tradition, weave a narrative that connects him to the ancient heroes of his land. In their verses, he finds inspiration and a sense of belonging, a reminder that he is part of something greater than himself. Throughout this time, the young Spartan's physical training continues, but with a new focus. The exercises become more challenging, designed to hone not just his body, but his mind and spirit as well. He learns the importance of balance and precision, of moving with purpose and grace. The physical challenges he faces are not ends in themselves, but means to cultivate resilience and determination. As he nears the end of his adolescent journey, the boy is invited to participate in the Sisisha, the communal meals that are a cornerstone of Spartan life. This inclusion signifies a new level of acceptance and responsibility, a recognition of his growth and maturity. At these gatherings, he observes the interactions of older Spartans, absorbing the lessons of leadership and community. In the simple act of breaking bread together, he learns the value of unity and shared purpose. The Rituals of Adolescence are a gentle yet firm guide, steering the boy towards manhood with care and intention. They are a reminder that growth is not a solitary endeavor, but a communal journey, shaped by the wisdom of those who have come before. As he stands on the threshold of adulthood, the young Spartan carries with him the quiet strength and enduring values that will guide him through the challenges and triumphs that lie ahead. In this way, the rituals of adolescence are not just markers of change, but the foundation upon which a life of discipline and honor is built. In the quiet shadows of the Spartan landscape, where the mountains held secrets and the valleys whispered ancient tales, there existed a rite so enigmatic, so woven into the fabric of Spartan life, that it seemed to belong more to myth than reality. This rite, known as the Krypteia, was both an endurance test and a passage into the deeper mysteries of Spartan existence, a trial that tested not just the body, but the very soul of a young Spartan. Imagine, if you will, a youth standing on the precipice of manhood, poised at the edge of the known world, ready to step into the obscured realm of the Krypteia. This was not a simple test of might or skill, but a journey into the essence of what it meant to be Spartan. It was a test of endurance in its purest form, where the physical met the philosophical, and the immediate needs of survival intertwined with the enduring codes of Spartan discipline. The Krypteia was not openly discussed, shrouded in secrecy and cloaked in the Spartan ethos of silence and restraint. It was said to be a rite of passage reserved for the most promising of youths, those who had shown exceptional promise in the Agoge, the rigorous education and training regimen that shaped all Spartans. Participation in the Krypteia was both an honor and a burden, a chance to prove one's worthiness as a future leader, a guardian of Spartan values. For those chosen, the experience began with a simple command: to venture into the wilderness alone with only the barest of necessities. The young Spartan was to rely on his wits and skills, honed through years of training, to survive in the rugged terrain that surrounded the city-state. This was a test of self-reliance, of resourcefulness, a chance to demonstrate mastery over the elemental forces of nature. During the Krypteia, the youth was tasked with observing the helots, the subjugated class that worked the Spartan lands. This aspect of the rite was steeped in controversy and has been the subject of much historical debate. Some accounts suggest it was a means of instilling vigilance and control over the helot population, while others propose it was a more symbolic exercise, a way to understand the delicate balance of power that underpinned Spartan society. Regardless of its true purpose, the Krypteia demanded absolute discretion and stealth. The young Spartan learned to move silently, to become one with the landscape, to observe without being seen. This was the art of blending into the environment, of becoming as much a part of the natural world as the trees or the rocks. It was a lesson in humility, in understanding one's place within the broader tapestry of life. As the days turned into nights and the nights into days, the young Spartan faced the elements with little more than his cloak for comfort. It was a time of introspection, of testing the boundaries of endurance. Hunger and thirst became constant companions, yet they served as reminders of the Spartan ideal of simplicity and self-discipline. The cold of the night and the heat of the day were not obstacles, but teachers, guiding the youth in the art of enduring hardship with grace and fortitude. In the solitude of the wilderness, the young Spartan learned to listen, not just to the sounds of nature, but to the silence within himself. This was a crucial part of the Krypteia, a time to reflect on the lessons learned during the years of Agoge, to internalize the values that would define him as a Spartan warrior. It was a period of transformation, where the line between the boy and the man blurred and the essence of the Spartan spirit began to crystallize. Through the trials of the Krypteia, the youth was taught to see beyond the immediate, to understand the interconnectedness of all things. The endurance test was not merely about physical survival, but about cultivating a mindset of resilience, of seeing challenges as opportunities for growth. It was about learning to command oneself before commanding others, to lead by example, and to embody the virtues of courage, wisdom, and self-restraint. Upon completing the Krypteia, the young Spartan returned to his community, not with fanfare or celebration, but with a quiet confidence, a deeper understanding of his role within the Spartan society. He had faced the unknown, embraced the lessons of the natural world, and emerged stronger, more resolute. The endurance test of the Krypteia was a rite of passage not just to adulthood, but to a life of service and dedication to the ideals of Sparta. In the end, the Krypteia was a testament to the Spartan way of life, a profound journey into the heart of what it meant to be a warrior, a guardian, a citizen. It was a reminder that true strength lies not in the physical alone, but in the harmony of mind, body, and spirit, in the enduring legacy of discipline and honor that defined the Spartans for generations. As the young Spartan stood once more among his peers, he carried with him the silent lessons of the wilderness, a deeper connection to the land and to himself, ready to face the future with the quiet strength of a true Spartan warrior. In the hushed light of early dawn, the Spartan youth readies himself, stepping onto a path that countless others have trodden before him. This path leads towards the life of a hoplite, the backbone of the Spartan military system, a life both demanding and revered. As the cool morning air clings to the skin, there's a moment of stillness, a pause that encapsulates the gravity of such a transition, from the communal barracks of boyhood to the disciplined ranks of warriors. The journey to becoming a hoplite is one of transformation, where the youthful exuberance of training evolves into the measured discipline of a soldier's life. This process is not merely physical but deeply ingrained in the psyche, a melding of body and mind into a singular purpose. It is here that the young Spartan learns the intricacies of warfare, not as an act of aggression, but as a duty, part of the fabric of his existence. Preparation for life as a hoplite begins with an understanding of the Phalanx, the formidable formation that defines Spartan combat. In this closely knit array, each man becomes a part of a greater whole, a living shield wall that moves as one. The Phalanx is both a literal and symbolic representation of Spartan unity, a testament to the city's collective strength. The young warrior learns to trust implicitly in his comrades, to find security in their presence, knowing that his shield protects not only himself, but the man beside him. This training in formation is more than a simple drill. It is a dance of precision and timing. Each step is synchronized, each movement deliberate, an unspoken language that binds the soldiers together. The rhythm of the Phalanx is akin to the heartbeat of Sparta itself, steady and relentless. Through countless hours of practice, the young Spartan learns this rhythm, allowing it to guide him, even when the chaos of battle surrounds him. Central to this preparation is the development of the hoplite's physical abilities. Strength and endurance are paramount, but so too is agility, the ability to move with speed and grace despite the encumbrance of armor. The young warrior trains tirelessly, pushing his body to its limits, understanding that his physical prowess is a cornerstone of his effectiveness on the battlefield. Yet, it is not brute strength alone that marks a hoplite, but the ability to wield it with finesse and control. The hoplite's armor is both a protective shell and a symbol of his status. Crafted with care, each piece is fitted to the individual, a second skin that offers protection while allowing for freedom of movement. The young Spartan learns to don his armor with pride, feeling the weight of it settle upon his shoulders like a mantle of responsibility. In this armor, he carries not only his own life but the honor of his city. Integral to the hoplite's equipment is the spear, a weapon that requires skill and precision to master. The spear is an extension of the warrior's will, a tool of both attack and defense. As the young hoplite practices, he learns to wield it with dexterity, to thrust and parry with a fluidity that belies the weapon's size. The spear becomes an inseparable part of him, a constant companion in his journey towards martial excellence. Alongside the spear is the shield, a symbol of protection and unity. The Spartan shield is heavy, designed to cover much of the body, but it serves a greater purpose than mere defense. It is the linchpin of the phalanx, linking each soldier to the next, creating a barrier that is both physical and metaphorical. The young warrior learns to carry his shield with care, understanding that it is his duty to protect not only himself but his comrades. As the Spartan youth progresses in his training, he is taught the value of strategy and tactics, the art of outthinking an opponent rather than simply overpowering them. This intellectual component is vital, fostering a depth of understanding that elevates the hoplite beyond a mere fighter. The young Spartan learns to read the battlefield, to anticipate movements and adapt his approach, ensuring that his actions align with the greater goals of his unit. Throughout this preparation, the young hoplite is reminded of the principles that underpin Spartan life: discipline, loyalty, and honor. These values are instilled in him from an early age, and they guide him as he steps into his new role. In becoming a hoplite, he becomes part of a lineage that stretches back through the annals of Spartan history, a custodian of the city's legacy. The path to becoming a hoplite is not one that can be rushed. It requires patience and perseverance, a gradual honing of skills and mindset. As the young Spartan trains, he is surrounded by mentors and peers, individuals who offer guidance and support, reinforcing the communal nature of Spartan society. In this environment, he finds encouragement and motivation, drawing strength from the knowledge that he is not alone in his journey. In the quiet moments of reflection that punctuate his training, the young Spartan contemplates the life that awaits him. He understands that to be a hoplite is to embrace a life of service and sacrifice, to place the needs of the city above his own. Yet there is also a sense of purpose, a recognition that his efforts contribute to something far greater than himself. As the sun rises over the Spartan landscape, casting long shadows across the training grounds, the young warrior feels a sense of readiness. He stands poised on the brink of a new chapter, one that will define him and his place within the world. In this moment, he acknowledges the journey that has brought him here, a journey of growth and transformation, and he looks forward to the challenges and triumphs that lie ahead in the life of a hoplite. In the heart of Spartan society, where the air was thick with the scent of olive oil and the gentle rustling of olive trees, young Spartans embarked upon a journey of transformation, a journey that would mold them into warriors of unprecedented discipline and resolve. The training with shield, spear, and phalanx was not merely a physical exercise. It was an art form, a symphony of unity and strength, requiring the seamless integration of body and mind. To the untrained eye, a spear might appear just a long, pointed stick. Yet, to a Spartan, it was an extension of one's own arm, a tool that could decide the fate of battles. The doru, as it was called, varied in length, often reaching up to 9 feet, a formidable reach that demanded both precision and strength. The young trainees learned to wield it with care, their hands becoming familiar with its weight and balance through countless drills. The shield, the aspes, was more than a mere defensive tool. It was a symbol of the collective strength of the phalanx, a protector of not just the individual, but the man standing next to him. Crafted from wood and bronze, it could weigh as much as 30 pounds, a burden that required resilience and determination. Carrying it was a test of endurance, holding it steady in the heat of battle, a testament to a Spartan's dedication to his brothers in arms. The formation known as the Phalanx was the epitome of Spartan military brilliance. Its power lay in the cohesion of its ranks, each man a vital cog in a well-oiled machine. The Phalanx was not just a formation, it was a philosophy. Standing shoulder to shoulder, shields overlapping, spears poised, it was a wall of human strength, a moving fortress. The young Spartans were taught that the success of the phalanx depended not on individual prowess, but on their ability to function as a unified entity. Training in the phalanx formation demanded more than physical strength. It required mental acuity and emotional restraint. The young warriors learned to master their nerves, to remain calm and collected under pressure. They practiced the art of silent communication, understanding the subtle cues of their comrades without uttering a word. This silent language, a series of nods, gestures, and movements, became second nature, allowing them to move as one, to adapt to the chaos of battle with fluidity and precision. In the Spartan ethos, the shield held a special place, a sacred object symbolizing a warrior's commitment to his community. They were taught that to lose one's shield was the greatest dishonor, for it meant abandoning those who relied on you for protection. As they trained, they absorbed the lesson that their safety lay not in individual might, but in the collective strength of their formation. The drills were rigorous, often taking place under the watchful eye of seasoned veterans, who imparted their knowledge with patience and stern expectation. The young Spartans learned to thrust their spears with precision, to block and parry with their shields, to move in unison with their brothers. Each movement was practiced until it became instinctive, a dance of discipline and coordination. As the sun set over the distant hills, casting a warm glow over the training fields, the young warriors would gather their thoughts, reflecting on the day's lessons. The training with shield, spear, and phalanx was not just about preparing for battle, it was about shaping their very identity, instilling a sense of belonging to something greater than themselves. In the quiet moments, as they stood on the cusp of sleep, they could feel the weight of their heritage, the legacy of those who had marched before them, a legacy they were now a part of. The Spartan training was an ongoing journey, an unending pursuit of excellence. The mastery of shield, spear, and phalanx was not a destination, but a path, a lifelong commitment to growth and unity. As the young Spartans drifted into slumber, the rhythms of their training echoed in their dreams, a soothing reminder of their place in the tapestry of Spartan life. The lessons of the day would linger in their minds, a gentle promise of the strength and camaraderie that awaited them with each new dawn. As we step quietly onto the dusty training grounds of ancient Sparta, we find ourselves surrounded by the rhythmic clatter of shields and the steady thud of spears against the earth. The air is thick with the scent of sweat and determination. Here, the daily rituals of the Spartan warrior unfold, where the weight of armor becomes not merely a burden but a second skin, shaping both body and mind. In the stillness of early morning, before the sun has fully risen, the young Spartans gather, each one aware of the layers of history they are about to don. Armor in Sparta is more than protection. It is a symbol of identity and unity. The bronze of the cuirass gleams dully in the dim light, reflecting the discipline etched into the lives of those who wear it. This armor is carefully crafted, designed to cover the vital parts of the body, leaving the limbs free for the fluidity of movement. Each piece, whether helmet, greaves, or shield, speaks to the Spartan ethos of practicality and function over ornamentation. The armor's weight serves a dual purpose. It conditions the bearer to endure and adapt, strengthening muscles and fortifying resolve. As the Spartans move through their drills, the weight becomes a teacher, imparting lessons in balance and endurance. This is not armor to be worn lightly. It demands respect and understanding, for it is both a defense and a mark of their calling. The young warriors begin their day with a series of exercises designed to awaken the body and sharpen the senses. These drills, repeated with unwavering regularity, are a dance of precision and power. The spear, an extension of their will, is thrust with purpose, its point slicing through the air with a sharp whisper. The shield, heavy yet agile, is wielded with an elegance that belies its bulk, each movement a testament to the hours of practice endured. Daily drills are not merely physical exertions, they are meditations in motion. The rhythm of training instills a sense of calm focus, where the mind learns to find peace amidst chaos. The Spartans understand the importance of consistency, of the gradual honing of skills that comes from repetition. Each drill is a building block, laying the foundation for the complex choreography of battle. As we observe the young Spartans in their relentless pursuit of mastery, we notice the subtle interplay between individual effort and collective strength. The drills are structured to enhance not just personal prowess, but the cohesion of the phalanx. Each warrior moves in concert with his peers, their steps synchronized, their breaths unified. This is the essence of Spartan warfare, the power of many acting as one. The significance of these daily drills extends beyond the battlefield. They teach resilience and adaptability, qualities essential for the uncertainties of life. By embracing the weight of their armor and the rigor of their routines, the Spartans cultivate an inner strength that transcends physical limitations. They learn to carry their burdens with grace, to find freedom within the constraints of duty. In the quiet moments between drills, as the warriors catch their breath, there is a shared understanding of the journey they are on. The weight of their armor, once a challenge, becomes a source of pride. It is a reminder of their commitment to a life of discipline and honor, to the ideals of Sparta that shape their every action. In the gentle glow of the setting sun, as the drills draw to a close, the young Spartans stand tall, their armor now a part of them. They have learned to shoulder the weight with dignity, to move through their world with purpose and poise. This is the legacy of their training, a life shaped by the quiet strength of discipline, where the weight of armor becomes a testament to their enduring spirit. And so, as we leave the training grounds behind, we carry with us the image of these warriors, steadfast and resolute, their daily drills a silent symphony of determination. In the heart of Sparta, where the weight of armor and the rhythm of training define a way of life, we find a profound lesson in the power of perseverance and the quiet courage to face the challenges of each new day. In the gentle hush of pre-dawn stillness, when the world is yet to stir from its slumber, the Spartans, too, gathered in quiet anticipation. This was the time for the cultivation of their most profound skill, the silent language of formation. To an outsider, the phalanx might have appeared as a simple military formation, a line of shields and spears. Yet beneath this apparent simplicity lay a complex tapestry of unspoken communication and understanding, woven together through years of shared experience and discipline. The Phalanx was more than a mere arrangement of warriors. It was a living organism, breathing and moving as one. Each hoplite, shield in hand, was a vital cell within this greater body, the unity of which was paramount. The knowledge that one's life depended on the shield of the man beside him was a powerful motivator. Thus, the discipline required to maintain the Phalanx was instilled from the earliest days of training. Imagine, if you will, the feeling of stepping into your place in the line. The weight of your shield pressing into your arm, the firm grip on your spear. The soft rustle of sandals on earth as each man found his position, all without a word, every motion fluid and assured. The purpose of this silence was twofold: to mask their movements from the enemy and to foster an unbreakable bond of trust among the warriors. It was said that a Spartan's greatest weapon was not his spear, but his silence. The language of the Phalanx was not spoken with the tongue, but with the body. A slight shift of weight, the tilt of a shield, the angle of a spear, each conveyed a message understood by those who had trained alongside one another for years. In the heat of battle, when words were lost to the cacophony of clashing metal and cries, this unspoken dialogue became their most critical tool. In many ways, the Phalanx was the physical embodiment of Spartan values. The discipline and unity it demanded mirrored the ideals that were woven into the fabric of Spartan society. To move as one, each man had to subjugate his individuality for the greater good, to trust implicitly in his fellow soldiers. This was not a trust lightly given. It was earned through countless hours of training, of enduring together the rigors of the Agoge, the relentless drills, and the harsh discipline. Reflect for a moment on the quiet harmony that must exist within such a formation. Each hoplite needed to maintain perfect timing with those around him, each step measured and precise. The slightest misstep could break the line, leaving gaps for the enemy to exploit. Thus, the Spartans learned to move with the synchrony of a flock of birds, each individual instinctively aware of his place within the whole. The training to achieve this level of coordination began in youth, with exercises designed to develop an acute sense of spatial awareness and timing. Young Spartans learned to march in step, to respond to subtle cues, to anticipate the actions of those beside them. These skills were honed through endless repetition until they became second nature. But the silent language of formation extended beyond mere physical coordination. It demanded a shared mindset, a collective will. Each Spartan understood the importance of his role within the Phalanx, and this understanding was reinforced through the stories and songs of their ancestors, tales of glory and sacrifice that instilled a deep sense of purpose and duty. Consider the psychological aspect of this silence. The enemy, witnessing the Spartans advance without a word, might have felt an unsettling chill. This was a silence that spoke volumes, a silence that conveyed resolve and inevitability. It was a reminder that the Spartans were not merely fighting as individuals, but as a single, formidable entity. In this way, the silent language of formation was as much about mental discipline as it was about physical prowess. To maintain composure in the face of chaos required a calm and focused mind, one that could find stillness amidst the storm. It was this ability to remain centered and composed that set the Spartans apart, that made their Phalanx a symbol of their indomitable spirit. As the dawn broke and the first light of day touched the earth, the Phalanx would stand ready, a testament to the unyielding discipline and unity that defined the Spartan way. Here was a lesson not only in warfare but in life, a reminder of the strength found in silence, in the bonds of trust and brotherhood, and in the power of moving as one. The silent language of formation was a dance of warriors, a choreography of discipline and unity that spoke to the very heart of what it meant to be Spartan. Through this quiet communication, they found a strength that was unassailable, a harmony that could not be broken. And in this silence there was a profound beauty, a reminder that sometimes the most powerful messages are those left unspoken, echoing softly through the ages. In the quiet, reflective moments before dawn, as the first light of the sun gently caressed the peaks of Taygetos, a young Spartan stood at the threshold of his most profound transformation. This was the moment he had been preparing for since his boyhood days in the Agoge, the rigorous educational and training program that molded boys into warriors. The transition from the controlled environment of training to the unpredictable theater of war was more than just a change of scenery. It was the culmination of years of discipline, endurance, and silent anticipation. As he donned his armor with deliberate care, each piece felt like a familiar extension of his own body. The cuirass, shield, and helmet, though heavy, were not burdens but rather trusted allies, forged to protect and serve. The Spartan warrior's panoply was a testament to the meticulous craftsmanship of their society, each component designed to function seamlessly in the phalanx, where individual prowess was harmonized into a formidable collective force. The transition to the front line was not a sudden leap into the unknown, but rather a gradual, carefully orchestrated process. It was a journey from the relative safety of camaraderie and controlled conditions to a place where the stakes were life and death. In this shift, the young Spartan would learn that the battlefield demanded more than physical strength. It required a mental fortitude that transcended the noise of clashing arms and the chaos of combat. Standing shoulder to shoulder with his comrades, the Spartan warrior learned the silent language of trust and unity. Each man in the phalanx depended upon the one beside him, creating a seamless wall of shields and spears. This formation was the embodiment of Spartan discipline, an unyielding force that moved as one. In the quiet moments before engagement, there was a profound sense of interconnectedness, a shared understanding that each warrior's survival depended on the collective's discipline and cohesion. The young Spartan would also come to understand the profound sense of belonging that came with being part of such a formidable unit. The bonds forged in training, through shared hardship and relentless discipline, were reinforced on the battlefield. Here, the lessons of loyalty and brotherhood took on new dimensions, becoming the very foundation upon which each warrior stood. It was a brotherhood not just of shared blood, but of shared experiences, of countless hours spent in preparation for these very moments. As the phalanx advanced, each step was a testament to the years of training that had brought them to this point. The rhythm of their movements was a carefully choreographed dance of precision and power. Every thrust of the spear, every shift of the shield, was an expression of the discipline ingrained in them since childhood. The young Spartan, now part of this living machine, felt the weight of responsibility settle upon his shoulders, a responsibility not only to himself, but to the legacy of those who had come before him. In the heat of battle, the lessons of restraint and patience learned in the Agoge proved invaluable. The ability to remain calm amidst chaos, to listen for the subtle cues of command, and to act with precision rather than impulse, set the Spartan warrior apart. This discipline was not just about physical control, but also about mastering the tumultuous tides of emotion, maintaining focus and clarity even as the world around them descended into turmoil. Yet, amid the harsh realities of war, there were moments of profound beauty and introspection. The young Spartan would occasionally find himself pausing to absorb the surreal juxtaposition of the serene landscape against the backdrop of conflict. It was in these moments that he would reflect on the journey that had brought him here, the teachings of his mentors, the songs and stories of his childhood, and the unyielding spirit of his people. The transition to the front line was, therefore, not merely a passage into a new phase of life, but a rite of passage that reaffirmed the values and virtues instilled in him. Through the crucible of combat, the young Spartan emerged not only as a warrior, but as a custodian of the Spartan legacy, charged with upholding the ideals of discipline, loyalty, and honor. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the battlefield, the young Spartan would return to camp, weary but resolute. The day's experiences, etched into his memory, would become part of the rich tapestry of his life, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Spartan warrior. In the quiet of the night, as he lay beneath the vast expanse of the starlit sky, he would find solace in the knowledge that he was part of something greater than himself, a living embodiment of the Spartan ideal, forged in the fires of discipline and tempered by the trials of the front line. In the gentle hush of dawn, as the soft light begins to stretch over the Spartan landscape, it is here, in the quiet moments before the day fully awakens, that we find ourselves contemplating the culmination of a journey. This is the moment when a young Spartan, having endured the rigors of the Agoge, stands on the threshold of becoming a full citizen. It is a transition both profound and understated, a passing from the realm of training into one of responsibility and service. For the young men of Sparta, citizenship is not merely an honor, it is a testament to a life shaped by discipline, endurance, and the unyielding pursuit of excellence. It is a status earned through years of rigorous preparation, a badge that signifies readiness to uphold the values and traditions that have been instilled since childhood. From this point forward, the young Spartan is no longer just a student of discipline, he is now a custodian of it. The path to citizenship in Sparta is steeped in tradition and ceremony, yet it is the subtler, quieter aspects of this transition that hold the deepest significance. The young Spartan, having endured the trials of the Agoge, is now recognized as a full participant in the social and political life of the polis. This change in status brings with it a new set of duties and privileges, all of which are underscored by the community's expectations and the individual's commitment to the Spartan ideal. At the heart of becoming a full citizen is the understanding that one's life is now irrevocably intertwined with the fate of the polis. The individual is subsumed into the collective, yet it is within this unity that he finds his purpose. As a citizen, the young Spartan pledges his loyalty not only to his comrades and his city, but also to the enduring principles of Spartan society: discipline, loyalty, and the supremacy of the common good over individual interests. The responsibilities of citizenship are manifold and extend into every aspect of life. The young Spartan must now participate actively in the syssische, the communal dining groups that form the backbone of Spartan social life. Here, over simple meals shared with fellow citizens, discussions of philosophy, strategy, and the affairs of the state unfold, fostering a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. The syssische is more than a mere gathering. It is a vital institution where bonds are strengthened and the ethos of Spartan life is perpetuated. Beyond the syssische, the young citizen is expected to engage in the political life of the polis. Participation in the assembly is both a right and a duty, where decisions affecting the entire community are made. In this arena, the young Spartan learns the subtle art of discourse, the importance of measured speech, and the value of listening. Here, the lessons learned in silent obedience and clear communication during military training find new applications, as the young men contribute their voices to the governance of their city. Military service remains a central pillar of Spartan citizenship. The young men, now hoplites, are expected to stand ready to defend their city at a moment's notice. The discipline and skills honed in the Agoge are now put to the ultimate test, as the Phalanx forms the core of Sparta's military might. Each citizen warrior understands that his role on the battlefield is as much about protecting his fellow Spartans as it is about confronting the enemy. In the heat of battle, the silent language of formation becomes a symphony of collective strength and unity. Yet amidst these responsibilities, the life of a Spartan citizen is not devoid of personal pursuits. The young Spartan is encouraged to cultivate his mind and body continually, to seek out knowledge and wisdom from those around him. Whether through the study of philosophy, the appreciation of music and poetry, or the pursuit of athletic excellence, the Spartan ideal encompasses a holistic approach to life that values both physical prowess and intellectual growth. In becoming a full citizen, the young Spartan also steps into the role of mentor and guide for those who follow. The cycle of learning and teaching, of receiving and giving back, is a fundamental aspect of Spartan society. As older citizens impart their knowledge and experience to the younger generation, they ensure that the values and traditions of Sparta are carried forward, unbroken and undiminished. The journey to citizenship is in many ways a passage from one form of discipline to another, from the discipline of youth to the discipline of adulthood. It is a reminder that the Spartan way of life is a continuous path, an ongoing commitment to the ideals that define the city and its people. In this quiet, reflective turning point, the young Spartan stands not only as a testament to his own perseverance, but also as a beacon of the enduring spirit of his homeland. As the day emerges fully from the shadows of dawn, we see in the young Spartan citizen a living embodiment of the values that have been nurtured throughout his life. The road to this moment has been long and arduous, yet it is the quiet strength, the unspoken bond with his fellow citizens, and the unwavering dedication to his city that define him now. In this delicate balance of individual growth and communal responsibility, the young Spartan finds his place in the world, a place shaped by the timeless ideals of Sparta, where discipline is not just a lesson learned but a life lived. As we draw to a gentle close on our journey through the world of Spartan discipline, we find ourselves musing quietly on the echoes of this ancient way of life. The Spartan training was not merely a series of physical exercises or the memorization of songs and strategy. It was a profound shaping of character, a molding of the mind as much as the body. It is here, in this reflective space, that we can begin to understand the enduring legacy of the Spartan ethos, a legacy that has rippled through time and continues to capture our imaginations today. Imagine, if you will, a young Spartan boy, his life a tapestry of discipline and duty. From the tender age of 7, he was drawn into a world where the individual was inextricably linked to the greater whole. This interconnectedness was not a burden but a source of strength, a reminder that he was part of something larger than himself. In the communal barracks, he learned the value of loyalty and camaraderie, where every small act of self-restraint contributed to the collective might of Sparta. It is easy to romanticize the Spartan ideal, to see it as a bygone era of noble warriors and heroic deeds. Yet beneath this veneer lies a more nuanced reality, an understanding that the discipline instilled in those young boys was less about blind obedience and more about cultivating a deep, abiding respect for the principles that govern their world. In learning to endure hunger and hardship, they found a resilience that would serve them not only in battle, but in every facet of their lives. This was not merely survival, it was a form of living that celebrated simplicity and shunned excess. As we ponder the art of silent obedience, we might consider the lessons it offers us today. In a world often dominated by noise and haste, the ability to listen, to truly listen, is a rare virtue. The Spartans understood that silence could be as powerful as speech, that patience and restraint could yield greater insights than rash actions. In training their minds for restraint, they cultivated a discipline that extended beyond the battlefield, into the very essence of their being. The Spartan way also teaches us about the elegance of minimalism. Their clothing, their diet, their very way of life was stripped down to the essentials. There is a lesson here, perhaps, in finding contentment not in abundance, but in the appreciation of what is necessary. The Spartans lived with little, yet they were rich in purpose and community, finding fulfillment in the shared goals and aspirations of their society. And what of the rituals of adolescence, those rites of passage that mark the transition from boyhood to manhood? These were not merely tests of physical endurance, but of moral and emotional fortitude. The Krypteia, that mysterious endurance test, was as much about the inner journey as it was about the outer. It was a time to confront fears, to embrace solitude, and to emerge stronger, more self-aware. In this, we see the profound wisdom of the Spartans, that true strength lies not in domination, but in self-mastery. The Spartan training equipped young men to become hoplites, the backbone of the Spartan army. Yet it was not the armor or the weapons that defined them, but the spirit of unity and shared purpose. When they marched into battle, shield and spear in hand, they did so with the knowledge that they were part of an unbroken chain, each link vital to the strength of the phalanx. This silent language of formation, the seamless transition from training to front line, was a testament to the power of collective discipline. As these young warriors transitioned to full Spartan citizens, the lessons of their youth continued to guide them. The discipline that had been instilled in them as boys became the foundation upon which they built their lives. In governance, in family, in every decision they made, the principles of restraint, loyalty, and simplicity remained steadfast. The Spartan citizen was not merely a soldier, but a guardian of a way of life, charged with the preservation of a legacy that transcended generations. In reflecting on this life shaped by discipline, we might consider the ways in which these ancient principles resonate with us today. In a world that often seems chaotic and uncertain, the Spartan ideal offers a blueprint for finding balance and purpose. The discipline of the Spartans was not about denying oneself pleasure or freedom, but about recognizing the deeper fulfillment that comes from living in harmony with one's values. As we close this chapter, let us carry with us the quiet wisdom of the Spartans. Let us find strength in simplicity, courage in restraint, and unity in shared purpose. For in understanding the enduring legacy of this ancient society, we may find insights that illuminate our own paths, guiding us gently through the night and into the new dawn.